Oh, I still got music on.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Tattoo Collecting Podcast. Fawn Baker, myself.
Thanks for bringing us in, Ben.
Hey,
I still had hood rap music playing.
We had the 2 Chainz running. Get us in the right mood.
I've been listening to 2 Chainz radio for the last few days.
I've been stuck on Logic. And it's not even necessarily him, but like that station,
it just scratches the right itch sometimes, right?
I just love hood beats.
Yeah, the big beats.
I don't give
makes you feel like you're floating.
What they're saying, but they have the right hertz in their bass to make my speakers go boom.
The right hertz in their ohms.
Yeah. So it's been tickling the fancy.
So today we've got a pretty awesome episode lined up.
We do.
Later on this evening, we have one of my awesome clients, Chris Warner, joining us if he's able to. In addition to that, who else do we have, Ben?
My buddy Denny is here. Oh, making an entrance like a true fucking gangster right out of the corner here, walking up and joining us. Had to use the restroom before.
What's up?
This is Denny. I'll let him introduce himself so I don't have to fuck it all up.
I'm kind of plugged up. What's up, guys? All right. Am I good?
No, I'm just checking you out. You do your thing. So this is Denny. I've known Denny since what?
2008, at least.
Oh yeah, at least. like at least. We've talked once or twice about how I was very fortunate to fall into a very fucking rad group of dudes early.
Dude,
straight up. Denny was definitely on that roster. It was a very unique situation back then, and it's hard to find people that were from that era that actually get how magical that really was.
It was a good time, man.
Yeah.
Definitely cut from a different cloth. I for sure think so.
That just doesn't exist anymore. And it's like it's a lot of people give that street shop a bad rap, but I could still to this day, only being a sidebar in that project, pick up the phone and call 90% out of those dudes and they would answer and show the fuck up.
Straight up.
So it's one of those people will knock the old school style and the apprentice relationship, street shop relationship, but man, like I said, to this day, I can call it most of those dudes and they'll answer. So it's a different vibe for sure.
Yeah, bro. Try to keep it real. I get some like fanboy pictures here. Sick.
Do it for the gram.
We're doing it for the gram.
That's all. If it's not on the gram, it didn't even happen.
It didn't.
Right. It's not reality.
Do you know what's really sad though? Is my actual Instagram account.
Why is that sad?
Because like I didn't post on it for about 4 years. And
it was like 3.5.
That's about. I said about. Sorry, 3.5.
3.5.
Mom's over here counting.
It was a 7 months and 38
about
days.
3.5.
But like I stopped posting on it when my kid was born because like life started.
Yeah. That'll happen.
And then finally I was like, oh yeah, there was this thing with the internet.
It's funny because you don't post, but you're still interactive.
Yeah,
like you're
I'm still
in on the
bored
group
toilet,
conversation.
just like everybody else.
He's an engager. It's funny that you say that because today, I don't know if you guys are hip to this, but Instagram pays people for reels now. So,
no.
Yeah, I just got the invite. I don't know if it's like a beta thing they're testing out for influencers or if they're just going to eventually just open the floodgates for everybody. But they literally just sent me the invite to be paid for reels. So I'm going to be posting a shit ton of reels because they give the option to get paid for it.
Yeah,
so
let's make money being stupid.
Let's
kinda
do
like
it,
the
bro.
life
We can
goal,
turn our
isn't
fake commercials into reels, right?
Yeah.
Can we get paid for our commercials?
As long as they're good.
They got to be fantastic.
I mean, as the base of life, as long as it's good, you can probably make money doing it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, was there any doubt that they weren't going to be good?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I
I was
think so.
just reiterating the fact that most people put out trash.
True.
And that is not our group. Don't get me wrong, but they have to be good. Let's just start with quality.
Amen.
That's all I'm saying. We've been talking for a while for making 2-3 minute little blips to have stretch your leg breaks, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
Sometimes the show gets what's the right word? Lengthy.
Yeah.
But like we don't even realize it. It's like
the
our
best.
bladder will tell us that we've been talking for 2 hours and we don't even realize we've been talking for 2 hours. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, have we had 3 pots of coffee already?
Oh shit.
Sorry, bad. I didn't get the tiki head.
Tiki head, tiki head.
It's all right.
Oh.
So I did a thing. I did a thing for the show. I ordered us a new table. And it's going to be a semicircle. So that, well, yeah, that way we can like sit around the semicircle and we get good camera angles and we can
Very
face one
cool.
another. So that should be here within the next couple of days.
Big
So next
fan.
week we'll have a new
Very cool.
round table for our round table discussions.
Big
Instead
fan.
of this awkward like line where we like lean.
Like a
over
I think
and
we
look
all
at
just
one
need to
another.
make the agreement to talk to each other in the monitor. If
Well,
we do that,
This is only the second week we've had a monitor.
that's why I'm getting used to it.
Do you
So,
like
like,
it?
It's
Instead
cool.
of us all night, I think if we just collectively agree to make eye contact in the screen,
And then it feels like we're looking at our audience.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Feels like Mystery Science Theater now. So,
It's kind of cool.
yeah.
Kind of cool.
We could
This is the
green
future,
screen.
guys.
We could green screen behind us.
That'd be
Dirk's
even
got the new
cooler.
TV coming. Dirk ordered us an 81-inch TV to put it behind here.
Oh my goodness.
So
wow.
we can put like tropical paradise behind us.
Can
we
we
can
do
put
Weeble?
movies. Yeah,
That's all I care
Yeah.
about. Like,
absolutely. They pulled out the PS3. There's a PS3 under the stage over here so they can jujitsu.
nice.
Perfect.
It's,
Nice.
I mean, I know the PS3 is ancient technology, but he and Sid can still whoop each other's butt.
I have an Xbox. Like an Xbox?
Like the first one?
Yeah, like the black one. It's like this thick. It takes like 4 years.
Does it have
to
like
load again.
hieroglyphs on the side of it?
Yeah. You used to play me. So I get it. But I was also the kid that was like pumped about getting the Nintendo, like Nintendo, when everybody else was on like the 19th Xbox series. So
Do you remember the Nintendo device? It was like the first VR that I can remember, but it was like black and red and it was like this and it was like 3D Pong
Mm.
basically that came at you. What was that called? Was it a Virtual Boy?
I don't remember. We were poor.
Yeah,
So
we were
I
poor
saw
too,
people
so-
with them.
I didn't have video games. I
Yeah.
played a Nintendo and I had like a PlayStation 1.
I remember my dad's friend was
Need for
throwing
Speed.
away an Atari. He's like, no, bro, that ain't trash. My kids will eat that up. I know it's from 1982, but still. Frogger, here I come.
All the Frogger. So how long you guys have just recently gotten back in touch, right? Had it been a while since you'd spoken?
I don't know.
Not
We
really.
never really break contact.
Yeah, not really. It's
Um,
just kind of like I moved away a couple years ago, a number of years ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
What'd
almost
you
a
do?
decade ago.
Went to do bigger and better things.
I just went to tattoo in another location and it wound up working out. It was cool. And then I came back.
He's so humble about it. Okay, so he went to Austin Town and started his own shop
I did do that.
where and you just skipped over everything. Oh yeah, I just wanted to do some tattoos.
Yep. Now I'm in Austin Town. I own Nobility Tattoo. It's pretty cool. It's low
pretty
key.
cool.
It's low key. I'm focusing on more of a like business development and business acumen more these days. I'm still an artist. I'm still a tattooer, but we're trying to kind of change the pace of how tattooing is and how we've kind of just seen pricing models and how we've kind of come to see ourselves as tattooers or problem solvers. So we're trying to tap into as my buddy Russ Abbott says, forward thinking. So
Yeah.
trying to be more forward thinking.
Well, and it's funny because even as we just briefly touched on a little bit ago, the business of tattooing is completely different
Oh yeah.
than it was, we'll say even 10 years ago.
Mhm.
I mean, the model for what the average person goes through to get a tattoo 10 years ago was, oh shit, it's Thursday. Let's jump in the car, drive to one of the 5 shops in town,
Right.
walk into an artist and say, what are you doing in 40 minutes?
Right.
Now it's a 6-8 week process.
Oh, you want a
on the-
tattoo?
on the
Okay.
low end
We'll
scale.
have your consultation in 6 weeks
Right.
and then we'll have your appointment in 6 months.
Hopefully, maybe, if you're
Maybe.
lucky. If
I-
you're
like
on the
the
homie
sad
list.
thing is I'm not exaggerating. That
No.
really how is how
And
it
that's
is for a lot
a
of busy
lot
artists right
of
now.
people are
Mhm.
booking out that far, and it's great to see the acceptance and culture to be allowed to have that flux of business. But
I I personally have a gripe with extra over busy artists. Nothing personal. It's not like I have an vendetta or anything sour against you. I just think you overwork. You just do too much. I think Russ is onto something here. If you guys have a chance to check out the Tattoo Smart page, he's onto something with overworking artists and maybe only booking out about 3 months at a time. And I agree with that. I think it's all about positioning. I think a lot of artists are.
Do you think it's smarter to close the books than book them out further than 3-4 months?
I think it's smarter to. Okay, so I think once you have developed your style or your niche, or you narrowed your focus down, I think it's smarter to say no to projects that don't help you grow as an artist, that don't help your business sustain or to scale. And I think that it's actually more valuable to clients to say no to them, to put them in a position of like going to an artist that actually can kill what they were looking to get.
Right.
So I think it works for both ends of the sword. But repositioning and just positioning yourself as an artist, I think that's super important. A lot of artists, they have this allure, or they're like attracted to having books closed, or saying like, I'm booked till next year, and it's like, you're overworking, man. You're doing too much. Your family suffers, your health suffers, your relationships suffer. You got a lot of things your money might not suffer. You might be rolling in it, but eventually your back's going to give out. Your hands are going to wear out.
Right.
All the stretching and yoga in the world couldn't help you, from this unnatural position that we sit in.
The other thing about the I like, because after working with Russ and Russ working on my back and learning so much from him, I totally changed the way that I scheduled too. I used to be scheduled 4 and 5 and 6 months out all the time, and it was just stressful, and I felt like I was always missing out on things. But now that I'm like trying to keep like 25-ish projects on my plate at any given time, it's like each project gets done more quickly. It's like by having less on my plate, I'm even more productive.
Right.
And then for each collector of mine, we get to see each other every 4 to 6 weeks instead of every 4 to 6 months. So like I can get an entire sleeve done in 4 or 5 months, where it used to take me 2 years.
Right.
So like for both me and the collector, that's one of the advantages about not taking on too much stuff. I mean, I always have a list of people who would like a consultation, but I don't count that as something I've committed to. It's like, okay, well, you're next in line for a consultation, and I'll take on like 4 or 5 new projects once I've completed 4 or 5 projects. And that keeps it pretty well balanced. But like I said, it's exciting because like you're current on these projects and you're current on these ideas. So like
the creative juice is still flowing.
You don't lose steam creatively, and then like you don't lose momentum on the progress of the project, so that the collector stays excited.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. It's very easy to accept half-done tattoos after a while. You get used to seeing. I've got several.
Yeah, I think we all have.
It's one of those, like, you get used to seeing it. It kind of gets blended in. It becomes part of you every day. And like you said, yeah, you're not excited, or you lose that enthusiasm for tattoo day, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the level of resentment that is built up that we don't talk about as artists, or maybe we do talk about in like private groups and shit, or in the shop environment. But I mean, publicly, I want to say that there is a level of resentment that does build up from an artist standpoint when you're taking on too many projects that are just not your bag. You know what I mean? You're just trying to keep the lights on and taking way too much shit that just is not your bag. And that breeds resentment. And eventually you're going to take out that resentment on an unsuspecting, probably well-paying client that just did not anticipate
Doesn't get why you hate doing that.
Exactly. Right. Or whatever it could be.
Whatever.
But yeah, I mean, I think the resentment issue is something that a lot of people, we don't even like address it, but I know it exists because I see it. I've lived it. And after changing my whole position as a tattooer and going from extra uber busy to being more flexible, having way more availability, but for the right projects. It really narrowed my focus. It changed how I think about myself. It changed how I think about other artists and my clients. And the experience is just much more pleasant for my clients now than it was when I was like holding them hostage to the clock, when we're watching hours pass, or I'm waiting for the next appointment to walk in the door, or I'm taking a ton of walk-ins, or, I'm just uber distracted, or I got way too much going on and I don't have the time to dedicate to them. And they got to wait, like you said, forever between appointments, and it's just like, I lose the steam for the project. They probably lose the budget, and it just gets put off and put off. So just switching my position helped me to like really narrow this down. And now I'm able to help other artists because it's been so successful for us that I'm able to like now move this formula into the public. Right. And hopefully that they catch on. I'm not trying to change anybody's thinking. I just want people to think with me. So it's like
that's a bold statement, and not in the best way.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to do it. It's not copy and paste.
Right.
But there's better ways. And just having the open-mindedness to think along those lines is where a lot of people don't key in, Hey, there we go. There's some boy.
Nice.
I feel like I've been yelling at the microphone the whole way. So you said it briefly too, as you were going through, a lot of people lose the budget.
Yep.
When you lose enthusiasm about a project and you lose steam on something, you will find somewhere else to allocate those funds.
Yep.
It's the inflation and craziness that's going on, and everything is more and blah, blah, blah.
When it loses momentum, it loses.
This is
priority.
a luxury item.
Mhm.
Luxury items are the first thing to go.
Right.
Mhm.
No one has to be tattooed. So like it's I get the focus. That makes a lot of sense. I never even would have thought on the end of, well, yeah, well now my kid's pregnant, or my engine blew, or my whatever life circumstance. If you're ready to go right now,
Right.
run it.
And you can't really, somebody's been waiting 6 months for a tattoo, and then life happens. And then you have to be like, as the artist, have to cancel on them.
Right.
You know how devastating that is?
Right.
Oh, it's the worst when they've been waiting months
Right.
and months. But now if it's only like, oh, hey, so I know we had this appointment scheduled tentatively because, whatever, I'm going to have to bump you out a week. You know what I mean? Like you can like when you've got a limited number of people on your schedule, you can kind of play the like, because I've got like my responsibilities with the podcast and things like that are changing. Like anytime I'm doing things on the weekends at all, it's like, this could be tentative. If a convention or event comes up, I'll let you know ahead of time, but like consider this tentative. Like if you don't
Right.
hear from me, we're good to go.
Right.
But like, just so
Right.
you know. And I think that's important, but at the same time, since I'm only like 6 weeks out, or actually right now I'm about 3 months out, but it's just because I've got so many conventions on my schedule and so much travel and,
But it's the same amount of clients.
It's the
So
same amount of
they're
clients.
still getting the same dedicated attention, which I think is the bigger
Bingo.
point
Yes.
of Denny's thing here, is that you're able to put the research and time into the individual pieces and dedicate more to that to get more out of the tattooing experience.
Right. What we're trying to do essentially is create value. So with this whole new positioning or pivoting or moving into this new light of business acumen, the idea is to create value. So the more value you can create for your client, the more value they create for you.
Mhm.
And sometimes value exists in convenience. Sometimes value exists in, being able to be flexible and not necessarily work a standard shop hour.
Mhm.
Sometimes for instance, I have a client that valued coming in early, and usually like my shop didn't open until 12. That's like the
It's a
standard
pretty,
shop
10,
hour.
12.
Yeah. So being that I was able, at first I wasn't able to do this. So I had to bump my day earlier and start like 8 o'clock in the morning in order to get a more valued customer in like an appropriate time frame and still make my day appointment.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, then that wore me out. I realized I was exhausting myself. So I decided to not do that again, and instead just start my day earlier for the right client and just be a, more fulfilled tattoo experience.
Yeah.
So I started early, and then we got done early. It was awesome. The client valued the shit out of that. And they actually paid me, a valuable amount. We're talking like real money. So it's,
Right.
to them, it was a valuable experience, and they were able to not see the price as like the price, basically the value exceeded the price for them. So they were able to see that like what I had done for them and what was convenient for them was more valuable than the actual ticket.
Right.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know, so
Absolutely.
That in itself is something that you can't do unless you're positioned.
You
have to
did
do it.
all this for what?
Right.
No, man.
Right.
Here,
Right.
let me take care of it. Like
Right.
that's and
Sometimes,
on that level, that's insane. Sorry.
sometimes there are the clients that are really worth going out of your way for, but like sometimes
I happen to be on the
clients-
inner loop of her clients.
Sometimes clients want you to really go out of your way, and it's like,
You didn't earn that.
Nope.
Yeah, you got to earn that.
Yeah, we call that, there's two different terms. There's value creep and then there's value seep. And the value creep
school
is
me,
when
school me.
yeah, value creep is when value is almost there. You're creeping up to the value points. You're not quite there. Value seep is when you've done too much and they expect too much. Value, you can almost anticipate value seep as like when you get tipped for a really high priced tattoo.
Mhm.
If you're still getting tipped, that means they see the value in that session and they're like, I still have to come out of pocket for more.
Mhm.
So that means you probably didn't charge them accordingly. So they felt some type of way inside, even though that they know that like, this is like our culture of tipping. If the value is there for them, they won't tip and they don't need to tip and they won't feel like they need to tip. And then you won't feel like you need tipped.
See, I personally will say this to everybody that's tattooed me. I struggle with handing a friend, because I have a homies only policy.
Right.
You don't want my $20,
Right.
$50, $100. Not that everybody doesn't like cash,
Right.
but you have a chance to appropriately price the tattoo when we start.
Right.
But to be fair, Ben,
I'm saying personally, this
to be
isn't for
fair,
everybody.
since you have the only homie rule, as a homie, when I need to move,
Call me first.
well, yeah,
That's the
Yeah.
homie rule.
That's
that
the
is who I
homie
call
rule.
first.
That's
Yeah,
the
like
but that's
some-
that's
that's better than a
I
tip.
struggle with that.
You moved
So
my couch.
when people are like, well, we also made an agreement a long time ago not to
I'm
make
just
money
saying.
off of each other.
I'm just
So like
saying, you
it's
moved my couch.
it's weird for me to think like if I get a pizza, I give the guy 20%. If I'm at a restaurant, I give the guy 20%. So when you get a tattoo, there's no standard
Right.
X amount you're supposed to give.
Completely arbitrary.
And it is based on your experience and how much money is in your pocket.
Right.
And I would rather, and this is me personally, have the artist look me in the face and say, this tattoo costs this amount. I make X amount on that. Which, I mean, you think that's fair? And in a street shop, that's a different thing.
Sure.
You know that artist is only making a percentage of that tattoo. If I've booked out an appointment with you and we are doing an hourly rate and this isn't a flat cut, where's the like, how does that come about? And I'm saying this from a place of fucking ignorance because I get
We
tattooed
also-
by my homies.
It's
Enlighten
a
the
funny thing
motherfuckers because I don't know.
Because there's even the gift tip where it's not monetary and it's something that's so personalized and so special that
Right.
like the tip itself is worth more than
Right.
any amount of cash could have been. Like there are those things too. So sometimes it's a funny thing when we talk about tipping because some people are scrimping and saving for the dollar amount for their appointment and
Right.
that's all they can spare and that's all they could achieve.
Right.
And you know,
Excuse me.
I'm going to work on that person the same as the person that's going to pay me time and a half for my day.
Well, and a tip in true fashion is extra.
Yep. That's
Yep.
the
It's not supposed to be you're expecting that to make your money.
right. The tip is the seep. It's the creeping up into the value. And then you get to over the value point and then you go over value and you go, wow, they did a great job. Or I'm just head over heels for the service and I'm going to give them more.
Right.
That's because they felt like the value that you've given them exceeded the price. So they want to give you more. They want to give you more
Mhm.
value. What we're trying to do is trying to counter that with finding out what each client values, which is a lot harder. So you have to be positioned for this, guys. You can't just be like a street shop tattooer that has absolutely no like roundedness or niche down, who have no clientele. You actually have to do this with your clientele when you're a positioned artist, and you will get there if you're not there yet. But once you're there, you can really start to break down what your clients value by the right consultation, the right kind of conversation. I call it a value conversation. I mean, you're literally asking them, why do you want this tattoo?
Right.
You're asking them, why did you choose me? And then you're asking them why now? And like, those are the most powerful questions you can ask somebody, because once they have a chance to think about it and they actually answer, you can pull the value from those.
It's funny that you say that, because we just recently, my wording is different, but I just put those 2 questions on my form the last time I edited it, is why do you want Fawn to work on you? Like,
Right.
is it because I have a manager who handles my things? So, she might not recognize every family name that
Right.
I've been working on for the last 13 years, but at the same time, that person has an opportunity to be like, I want Fawn to work on me because I like her outer space psychedelic stuff.
Exactly.
Or I want Fawn to work on me because she has worked on my grandparents, my parents, and now I'm old enough. Like, I don't care what you're asking for. Like, we're going to have a consultation. I will at least coach you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not going to turn that down. I want to work on you if I'm working on your whole family. But like, sometimes we might need to adjust ideas, because like I've done enough
I'm not
pocket
giving you
watches in
script
my
and
career.
roses.
I've done a lot of pocket watches and compasses.
Sold out.
I'm sold out.
Sold out.
I'm sold out.
No,
I can only do
I'm all
so
out of
many
Eagles,
I
bro.
can only do so many skeleton pocket watches. Like,
But really, once you're able to
On
get
your
the
throat.
value from these clients and you're able to see what they value in that like conversation. So let's say they do hit you up and they go like, I want to get tattooed by Fawn because I love the way she does space. And now you have something that they value. They value space. They value the work that you do. So now you're able to, you cut yourself above the rest already instantly. You already know what they want you for. So you don't have to guess, which is great. I mean, that's literally what you're wanting
Right.
in the negotiation. You want to know what they value. So once you're able to pull that from them, you creatively, and we're in the creative design industry, so we should be to a level or a degree of creativity, have creativity down to some degree, but you use the value conversations to creatively talk to these people and make sure that you are able to pull what they value into a proposal and then give them options. And I always give them 3 options, which is harder to do when you're in a street shop environment. You're working with walk-ins, you got fast-paced life. It's almost impossible.
You have to quote it at X amount of dollars so everybody gets their
I think the only way you can get around with 3 options in a street shop, which I think we did this at Body Language, was give them 3 different sizes.
Yeah.
Like, and that's
I'll do it this big, this big, or this big.
And that's not really always or valuable. That's not always valuable to them.
I don't have a space for this big, or this one's not going to look right where I want it. So
and sometimes they just don't care about the size. They just want the experience. Sometimes they value the convenience. Sometimes like my grandmother just died and I have to get this today. What can you do? And if you have to clear a schedule for them, they're going to value that.
Even I don't know any heavy collector that doesn't have, I don't want to say a less tattoo. That sounds so horrid, and that's not how I mean it. But a simpler got this because tattoo. My homie was coming up and he was apprenticing. My grandmother passed and I wanted something on my hand with my kid, or
that kind of goes back to a whole different conversation that we have all the time. And it's not a race. Like, you can have the idea, and if it's important enough to carry around with you forever, then it's important enough to dignify with finding the right artist to put it on you forever.
Right. That's qualifying clients is just as important as qualifying the artist. So we have that conversation to make sure, and as experts, because they see us as experts. So, we might not see ourselves. And that's why I kind of like figure having this, you have to be to some level of a position, which a position comes with a mindset. If you don't see yourself as a pro, you don't see yourself as a specialist or a niche down expert, and to some degree, then your clients probably won't either after a while. But they do now. They absolutely see you as a specialist, as an expert. So if they're coming to you and they value you as an expert, then they're going to value like the conditions that you give them. If you say no, they're going to value the referrals that you give them. They're going to value the other artists that you refer them to.
Well, especially if you are sorry, hey man, pine trees and sunsets and landscapes are not my thing.
I like tattooing pine trees with sun
but
rays.
Fawn, my homie, that's her gig.
Bro, they
She
love that.
Kills it. That's what she does. Pull her name up. Look at it.
They love
That's
that.
why I
Now-
went that way.
Now I'll do it, but only if we can put this psychedelic, trippy, weird shape coming out of the fire pit.
Yes.
Bam.
They would love that. Just a recommendation. We get so many emails where we absolutely just can't work with the ideas. They're not my wheelhouse, or I just know other artists that would absolutely kill it. So we
It's
give
almost
them.
rude to not.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we're experts. I mean, I got plenty of position. I'm fine. You know, we don't need that one client. So it's not going to break my whole life or my career if I say no to this. And I think a lot of artists are scared to say no because they feel like once they say no, the opportunity door closes. And that's not the case.
In
It's
this
that-
day and age, one
Yeah, not
tattoo
even
isn't
a-
going to make or break
Not
you.
even a little bit.
I feel better connecting somebody with the right artist, even when
Absolutely.
it's not me or not specifically one of my homies. And then I'll have that collector come back to me and rage about like what a good experience it
Right.
was with this other artist.
Right.
And they didn't realize that they could have that connection with multiple artists. And like, you know what I mean? Like to let collectors know that no, you collect,
Right.
Right.
collect.
Right.
Like
It's yours.
yeah,
collection.
yeah. It doesn't have, I mean, I'm flattered that you want all of your work from me, but no, I won't be mad if you
No.
go elsewhere.
Right.
Like, what do you want?
Especially
Let me
if you
tell you where to
want
start
something
looking.
that's not my expertise.
Right.
So I want to ask you something. I feel like you got some incredibly organized thoughts on the topic. So I want to ask you from the opposite point of view. So since our show is pretty much directed more towards the collector rather than the artist, how would you explain to somebody to stay away from like the person that's been tattooing like a year and a half and they're charging $200 an hour? Because it happens. I hear that all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I
And people
mean-
don't know better. They just think that's the going rate because
Yeah. I mean, okay. So my opinion on hourly billing at all is just, I hate it. I think it's absolutely the devil. I think
do
it's
you
just,
usually charge by the day now?
no, actually, like I said, I value based price. So
Mhm.
what we do is we give 3 options, right? So I'm anchoring at a premium price for the first option. And then based on the value, we hit them with 2 other options. And then they are able to autonomously choose what they find valuable. And from that, you know, we're able to work from there. But
Mhm.
usually it's subjective. So each one of them is going to be different. So there's no cookie cutter formula for this, you know? So
Right.
that's why it's important to be in a position where you can have the time to have this conversation with these people and make sure that you find what's valuable to them. But no, I don't charge flat rate. I don't charge hourly. I charge just based on the value. Sometimes we will charge in one session for the entire tattoo, and then it takes 3 or 4 sessions to break it up. Sometimes I'll charge at the end of the session, you know, after everything's said and done. So it just depends on what the value conversation that we're having. But hourly, I think, is absolutely destroying tattooers in the industry and at all.
I mean, art in and of itself, pricing is completely subjective.
Oh, absolutely.
I actually saw a video the other day that was talking about how that they believe the modern art is just a money laundering scheme.
Oh, I believe it. There's a
and
lot of money laundering
kinda,
in art.
It kind of blew my mind, and I was like, "Well, that makes total sense. You could create a piece of art and subjectively add a value to that." But what we're doing is what you're doing. I ain't doing shit. What you're doing is you're looking at something that somebody has for the rest of their life
It can't
for
be
a
bought, sold, or traded.
for a specific reason. What I hate to say price tag. It's not the word I want, but what value is that for you?
Right.
And that makes sense to me. That to me, if you went and said, "Hey, well, look, I can spend 20 hours of research and 300 I would say 30 hours on your tattoo, or I can do a similar image with less detail in 20 hours and you'll still have that same tattoo, but at this price."
Right.
That you want to bare bones that you want to outline and some backwash in it, I gotta do it for fucking $50 or whatever.
Sure.
I'm very, very generalizing this, but like that to me makes sense. You came to me because I'm an expert.
Right.
At that expert rate, if you want all the detail and all the fine line and everything that would take me to get to that tattoo, that's the price.
Well, I think that there's a difference once you're positioned. The right qualified clients come to you where you don't have those conversations anymore.
Right.
You know, they're actually, it's like somebody in the market for a Ferrari is not going to, you know, show up at the Volkswagen dealership.
Well, and they're also not price shopping.
Right. And
They're looking
that's
for that
absolutely true.
Ferrari.
Right. And they know what they're getting themselves into.
Right.
So when they show up at your door, and they're looking for a specialist and they see it in you, they know what they're kind of already anticipating to a degree, but that's your job to qualify the client. It's your job to systemize your routine, to systemize what kind of client you like, to let them know that this is my qualifier. This way you don't have to worry about that stuff later on. But to answer your question about the $200
Price gouging basically is my red flags.
It
for
is
price
absolutely
gouging.
subjective.
It's okay. We got time.
Price gouging, I feel like if the client values it, there's no such thing. You know, I feel like, yes, they might have found a better option if they would have did some research. Maybe they were ignorant, but I feel like if they valued that experience, they value their tattoo, they valued everything about it, then there's no such thing as a price gouging unless they didn't feel the value after the experience. That's when the resentment comes in. That's when the client feels the burn, and that's when they won't get the retention rate at all. But I feel like if the client values the situation and they value everything about it, they absolutely will not see it like that. And for instance, and I know there's probably a lot of clients probably tuning into this because they're excited for this, but you know, I'm expensive as shit, man. I'm a really expensive tattooer. And
I love
I mean, I just got to be honest. I'm extremely expensive, and they know this. And I tell them immediately, like, "Hey, there's probably cheaper options. Why are you?"
Well, you don't buy
choosing
Gucci because it's cheap.
You're right. I mean, you know what you're getting yourself into. You know, it's like you're getting quality, and you know that. And in my town, it's hard to come by, so it's even more of a position for me because I'm more of a rarity. And also for me, it's more of a position to be available. Because there's so many good tattooers, and there's shout out to all the great tattooers in my town. There's some really good tattooers that aren't busy or too busy. They're way too busy. They're like 6 months out, a year out, 2 years out. And what, you know, so that trickles right down into my lap.
I don't want to wait 2 years.
And they don't want to wait.
Thing.
They ain't waiting, dude. So I'm just telling you guys right now, a lot of the overflow comes into my lap, and it's because you guys are too fucking busy, man. You guys have no position to take these cool clients that have tons of money, tons of time, resources, whatever. You just are too busy, and it comes right down to me. So I'm the expert that can take all that shit. I've positioned myself. I'm extremely expensive. They know this, and they're still sitting with me. You know, so it's because they value what I'm giving.
Quality speaks.
It's not just the tattoo, but it does help. I mean, quality does help, but you see it when somebody who's only tattooing a year charges $200 an hour. That's doesn't necessarily ride on the quality train. That rides on the value train. That client sees that value regardless of what it is. I know I had a client in Vegas that got tattooed by Fred Durst. Okay. Yeah. Nobody knew Fred Durst tattooed. I didn't know that, at least, but he tattooed, and he had a whole half sleeve from this dude. It was like biomechanical, and he fucking loved it. It was garbage, and he loved it. I mean, he showed it to everybody. He valued the fact that Fred Durst tattooed him. Right. You know, he paid a fortune for it. And it was garbage.
I'm sure
it was garbage. So,
but I want a Fred Durst tattoo.
Exactly, dude. That's what I'm saying. So Fred Durst is positioned to where he can, you know, charge whatever he wants, and it doesn't seem like a price gouge. His quality is fucking awful, but his prices are $5,000 for a half sleeve, and it looked like a toddler drew it. It was awful, and he did it in his kitchen, you know. So it was like it wasn't even in a shop environment, but the guy went to Fred Durst's house, got tattooed in his Vegas kitchen, and loved every minute of it. Paid every dollar.
I'd pay $5,000 just to hang out for Fred Durst.
Hey, dude. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The value and the positioning matters. So you don't always have to ride on the quality train. So as an artist, you can explore creative pricing options. You don't have to do the hourly humdrum of like.
You know what? A 96 Dodge Neon is still a car.
Right. People value that, and believe it or not,
96 Dodge
somebody's
Neon
gonna
is
want
still a
that.
car.
Well, if you're trying to sell a BMW, you don't take it to a Honda dealership. You take it to BMW, where they know exactly what it's fucking worth.
I mean, or at least
Some
you go to
people
a
want
market.
that 96 Neon though, with like the extra wide wheels,
Oh yeah,
like 10s,
the SRT,
super duper wide, big spoiler on the back.
I just want a
could you
spoiler
do?
big enough that I can sit backwards.
What
and eat
else?
my lunch.
What else could you do that's inappropriate on a neon?
Put some
Everything.
neons.
Gold?
Put neons on a neon.
Neons, yes.
Own
Neons on the
a
neon.
neon.
I like
Can
it.
we
Own
just
a
start
neon.
with
Yeah,
own a
you can
neon?
own a neon. That's pretty extreme.
Yeah, right
But
there. In and of
somebody
itself.
values that shit and they'll pay top dollar
Yep.
somewhere for a perfectly restored neon.
Hence
98.
the Civic fucking hatchback that
So-
still lives on.
If you guys are struggling with, your career and knowing or wondering if you're being paid enough, you're probably not, and you're probably working too much and you need to reposition yourself, work on your content, work on your positioning as an artist, draw more, paint more, travel more,
So
get out there.
earlier, we kind of started off the conversation talking about how sometimes it's maybe not necessarily beneficial to do the books closed thing. But after I was talking to Russ, after traveling back and forth to Georgia and, just like hearing his advice as he like beat me up for days on end. Okay, 2 days,
That's days
multiple times.
on
days.
end.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Like,
but like it
it's
wasn't
two.
like 3 or 4 days of tattoo time. in a
let
row.
me
It was
tell
like
you,
2.
day 2 is a different
But, like,
fucking animal. Like,
Once I decided to take his advice and whittle my number of projects on my plate down to 25, it took me 1.5 years to do that. So I literally had to close my books and be disciplined about having my books closed until I whittled it down to 20 projects.
right.
And once I did, it was so freeing because now I can have that slightly looser schedule with my clients because they know and I know that if either one of us needs to reschedule, it's going to be a few days or a
Right.
few weeks
Mhm.
later
Right.
instead of several months
Right.
later.
Until you
So
get
it
the
makes
guy
it
that's like me,
easier.
that's like, hey,
It
I know you're off on Tuesday.
makes it so much easier to like keep that momentum and that
Right.
excitement going that we were talking about, because even if life does get in the way, it's only going to be a few weeks.
Right.
It's not going to be
Right.
months and months where you get used to seeing your tattoo unfinished. And then you're like, it's not so bad. I'll worry
Right.
about that later on, or I'll get it finished one day.
Right.
But when it's just that few weeks. So the exception to the books closed thing is if you do take Denny's advice and you do like simplify your life and you do want to whittle that number down, you have to do books closed and be disciplined and not take on anything else out of respect for your future projects. Do it one time. And then from that point on, be very selective. It's really hard to like shift gears midway. So I had to like discipline myself to like no new projects, nothing at all until I catch up. And then once I complete a few things, it'd be like a little bit of weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Right.
That was like 3 or 4 more people that I wasn't accountable to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like being accountable to 100 people that are on your books at one time, that's a lot. Like
Oh, yeah.
they say we don't have bosses, but like when you have that many people to answer to,
Right.
it's pressure.
It could be overwhelming for sure. And it could definitely feel like the resentment will build and you just become overwhelmed and you just don't want to do anything for anyone really, just kind of want to retire early and curl up the ball.
Mhm.
But
Why
when
don't
Call
I
I,
that
play
a
tattoo
chip on the
anymore?
shoulder.
Yeah,
You'll see a lot of
absolutely.
artists with chips on their shoulders, and that's what it is. It's because they're working to the point that they're missing out on life.
Right.
And then they feel like, well, you better be paying me X amount of dollars if I'm missing out on this, this, and this.
right.
And then this weird thing happens when you're not working, you're out with your friends and like it's just a regular day and you're like, I could be making $1,500 and I'm sitting here
Absolutely.
doing this. And you don't want to be sour towards your homies for like wasting your valuable time. So
Right.
like when you have less on your plate, then you can budget your energy instead of budgeting money because you've got this handful of dedicated clients. You're dedicated, they're dedicated, the momentum is there, but like the whole process is a little bit more laid back. You don't
Right.
have the anxiety. What if I get sick? What if I get injured? What if like somebody surprises me with a trip somewhere? You know what I mean? Like these things that happen in life, you can
surprises you with
accommodate
trips?
for.
Well,
Some
that's
people get surprised with trips.
Yeah, bro. I got surprised with a
Throw
trip.
it out in the universe. It might happen.
I want
Shout out to
surprised with the
Christine.
trip.
This one time I went to Tampa. It wasn't a surprise, but a lot of surprises happened.
Yeah, that's
Shit
absolutely. I feel that to my soul, to be honest with you. But I really do. I mean, I think hourly billing also plays into that because a lot of artists don't see themselves as worthy. So they kind of fall into this, like, I'll just fall in an hourly billing and I just hope that this sticks and it works for me. And they just charge everyone the same price?
So I do roughly do hourly charging, and like I do roughly 200 an hour. But like after 5 or 6 hours, like if you're down to keep rolling, me too. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like I'm totally game for like, let's just call this a tap out session for this much for the day. Then neither of us have to watch the clock. We can take our time. We can take
Yeah.
breaks. We can work long segments of time. We can work short segments of time. We can take our time and use numbing creams. Like, and I've got the whole day set aside for this person. I don't have to watch the clock at all. There's nobody coming in next. Like, like it's expensive. Like you said, our work is expensive.
Right.
It is a luxury. So I like to like have that dedicated experience for my clients. And I like to treat them like it's their spa day. Some of my clients are business owners.
Right.
They never take time off. They're more
Mhm.
workaholic than I am.
Right.
So between like family life, kids sports, work, other obligations, sometimes people literally only take their tattoo day off.
Right.
So I want them to, like, aside from me brutalizing them all day, I want it to be the most chill, relaxed day. And that experience goes back to what you were saying, adding value to your time, to your day. Like it adds value to the whole experience. It adds value to the memory of the piece, and it adds value as far as what somebody's willing to pay for that experience and artwork.
But you also have to balance that value, because just like after 5 or 6 hours and they're like, let's keep going. And it's like, you might be overworking again and falling back into that. Like, I'm all right with doing an extra,
I've worked myself into those corners before.
Yeah.
So that is a lesson that I have learned the hard way already. I see a massage therapist regularly.
That's
because
awesome.
I do overwork
Yeah.
myself. But like, if you're going to be a workaholic, you got to take care of your body.
Right.
Like you either need to accommodate rest for recovery, or you're going to have to pay for somebody to repair you.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, I have podcast day. I have podcast day and then pool day. So I get those 2 days off every week, even if I don't take my weekends off or anything. So that's 2 days. That's not bad for a tattooer.
I mean, you need some
Jeez.
time off. I have another business. I make music production for TV and Film Sync. So like it can be weeks sometimes that I'm away from the shop, recording or doing what I'm doing. And it takes a lot of time. So, for me to be able to work on a specific client or a special project and be able to price that to where I can afford to take off a couple of weeks, still make a cool tattoo and make that client happy. You can't really do that with hourly.
Mhm.
You just, there's no way you're going to be able to pull that off with hourly billing. So, and also you're holding them hostage to the clock, or they're holding you hostage, and I really feel that, because if you ever watch somebody right at the last half an hour to an hour of their session, they're constantly just looking over around at the clock.
They're ready to be
They're
done.
done.
Yeah. And it's not just the tattoo itself, it's the price. They're like,
Mhm.
all right, this is starting to get expensive. I could be spending this on other things. I got bills coming up. I got this. So that's when it starts to really affect everything.
Mm.
And hourly billing is going to have those outcomes every single time.
Mhm.
And there's always going to be a level of resentment. So hourly billing also lowers your level of retention.
Well, and here's the thing from the artist's point of view. If I'm watching the clock, so let me rewind. The first several years of my tattoo career, when I would I always tried not to be too hard on myself about my tattoos immediately after I did them. I try to wait several days or like a week, and then I'd look at them and scrutinize them. So, and as I was looking and scrutinizing, I'd be like, man, if only I had more time, I could have done this and this. I'd go to the next one. Man, if only I had more time, I could have done this, this, and this. Go to the next one. Man, if only I
That's
had more
disheartening.
time, I could have done this, this, and this. And it was just that same criticism over and over and over and over and over again. So for me, it's like, I do quote for the piece, but in my head, I'm breaking down how long it should take me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So from the start, when I give you that quote, that's our price. That's not going to fluctuate. It might be less if I get it done more quickly than I'm imagining. And that happens sometimes. But like, that's usually our solid price. If I get started on that tattoo and then it's like, oh, I've got this other idea and it's going to take like another hour and a half, just hang in there. I'm not going to charge them extra for that. I didn't quote them for that.
Right.
That's like, this is just what this project needs,
Here's
because
the
that's
stuff,
what
right?
this project needs.
That's what it calls for, right?
Yeah. So for me, by quoting for the day or quoting for the project, if it's a 1-day piece, I have that freedom. You know what I mean? Like if it's a client that doesn't sit well and we need to take breaks a little bit more frequently, we've got the time to do that.
Right.
That's just because you like to smoke weed every 7 minutes.
No, I'm horrible at getting
No,
tattooed.
he's not that bad.
We can be honest with each
He's not that
other.
bad.
He's not that bad.
He's that bad.
He's got a
through, like,
bodysuit. An
Notice
entire
they are all
bodysuit.
qualifying it with he's not that bad.
I
That means I'm
mean, we
still
both
bad.
tattooed him, and he's not that bad at getting tattooed. And he's got an entire head to toe bodysuit.
We're
Yeah,
just-
we'll go like a 3-hour stretch and he'll be like, I need to take a break again already. It's like, no, we were due to take a break an hour ago.
Yeah,
That's-
he's
that's
good.
normal.
He's all right.
It's okay. I feel like I am horrible at getting tattooed also, but everybody that has worked on me is like, no, you're good. That just was a painful tattoo. And I'm like, no,
I am down
I
to
was
the
crying on the
stupid spots.
inside and squibbly.
I was squibbly on the inside.
Squibbly. I was squibbly on the outside, crying on the inside.
I remember early in my tattoo collection, I got a giant rib piece. I'm talking like I got a trinket tattoo and then another trinket tattoo. And then I was like, tattoo my armpit to my hip. And Wes was like, okay. Like, yeah, I'm in. And I remember mid-second session, him just laying on my armpit and holding my hip down, like wiggle all you want, bro. Just
It's almost comforting.
it's going
It's
in, bud.
almost
It's-
more comforting
Sure.
when an artist handles you like that, isn't
Yeah.
it? When it's like that
It's like a
full
tourniquet
body
almost.
hold.
Yeah.
I remember just wincing away from the needle. Like I hadn't honed the mindset of being tattooed.
Right.
Too much, too fast, man. You got to earn that shit.
Bro, but you know what? You
felt
it's
like
that wasn't just your fault. That's another point I wanted to bring up too, is artists misdiagnosing tattoos, man. You know, like jumping the
Yeah.
gun, trying to get paid. Tattooers that are just like
Misdiagnosing.
straight up. I mean, I know it's a clinical, it's very surgical and clinical, but
Well, I mean,
misdiagnosed a tattoo, and
it's like going and getting your throat tattooed in your first 3 tattoos. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't get your hands.
there's
tattooed in your
definitely
first
I
3.
mean, adults can do whatever the fuck they want, but
Concur,
but the artist the artist should be in a position to where they have other options to say no, so that they don't have to take those obscene or crazy, ideas that another lower positioned or less positioned artist can take and learn from that. You know what I mean? Just like you're saying, you don't do that. That's just like a part of the culture. It's just a part of the, like, we just don't tattoo the throat for the first tattoo. It's just like something you don't want to do. But there's a tattooer who has not experienced that lesson yet and has to learn that. But why should we learn that lesson over again for the sake of a dollar?
Well, I
That's
mean,
not
if you turn
that's
them down,
misdiagnosing.
they're gonna go somewhere.
That's malpractice.
They will. That's malpractice.
You literally are malpracticing.
There one time it blew my mind. A buddy of mine, he and I were working together, and we were working over in Springfield. We were working in Springfield, and there was like a whole family reunion going on. This was back in like the tattoo party days. So I look over and
No
he's
shame,
got,
Fonzie.
oh yeah, I was totally started from the bottoms. So on the back of this girl's neck, he put letter. I can't even remember what it said, but it was this really pretty script. It was really nicely drawn, but it started like at one collarbone and it went around the back to her other like collarbone in the corner of her jawbone. So it was like this whole, like across the back. And I was like, hey, are you really going to do that to her? And he's like, she says she's going to be covered from head to toe. Like we already had a talk about it.
She said she's gonna be covered.
And he
from head
goes,
to
she's
toe.
already got her hands done and she had like something on her chest that I didn't see. And I was like, okay, all
Gotta
right.
start somewhere.
You're like, she was just like super young. And it was like, hey, you're not going to do that to this girl, are you? He's like, I wasn't going to, but like, she's got a plan. And it was like,
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
all
that's.
right, all right.
I think we're all faced with that conversation at some point in the shop environment where we're like,
I've
Are
got
you gonna do that
clients
shit?
that are like close to a
You really gonna do that
bodysuit
shit?
That's what's
now.
going on today. That's happening.
Bro.
You're
and
good.
we're all guilty of saying yes. And that's malpractice to a degree. I mean, think about all the tattoos that people are absolutely regretting right now, but they were professionally done. They paid top dollar for it.
Mhm.
They probably look really good, but they're just like, what the fuck was I thinking?
As someone who did tattoo removal briefly,
Right.
bro, droves of motherfuckers at nauseum. Like,
Right.
hey, so I went to bleeping shop
Right.
and paid X amount of dollars for this turd bucket. What can you do about it?
I remember when I was still working so after the parties, when I was working at a walk-in shop, there were people that would come in and, they might have stumbled in from the bar across the street or the bar down the road, whichever. And they'd always have the best idea that was going to get them free drinks for the rest of their life. And I'd be like, ha, 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 ha. Okay, what do you really want? And they'd be like, no, this
that's
is what I want. And I'd be
right.
like, ha, ha, ha. And I'd be like, you really want to explain that to your grandkids when you're in a swimming pool?
Yeah. In the moment they do. They don't mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But when I would be like, the joke's going to be over.
As the
I'm
person
not the
with the
one.
most ridiculous drunk tattoo of all times, I can talk zero shit.
Dude, when you're a broke tattooer, every tattoo you're hungry for, you'll say yes to mostly every tattoo.
Right.
If you're a position tattooer with a niche down, narrowed experience and a focus, you probably won't say yes to that shit.
Right.
And that's the point. It's like focus, stay the course and focus down. So you don't have to say yes to the dumb shit and be contributing to the malpractice and the misdiagnosing of tattoos and putting shit on people that they regret. And it isn't helping your career. It doesn't help you at all. It's only instant gratification for both of you. And, somebody's got to deal with that shit later.
Yeah. Now someone's got to cover.
Yeah.
It.
Somebody's got to deal with that shit
And
later.
they got to pay
and
somebody
they're going to pay
extra.
I need to
to
make a
cover
confession
shitload.
right now.
Tattoo.
There have been
confessions.
times in my past where I was still in the position where like the way I tattoo my style was challenge accepted. You want it? I can do it. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability and better than anybody else in this town. That was my challenge accepted. That was my style, whatever it is. So here's the confession. I would very often be like, oh, you want your partner's name? What's their favorite color?
This is my confession.
It was always nice when it would be like orange, lavender, light blue.
Right.
Because you know what?
Creating
Do you
light
know
blue.
what? Do you know what happens to lettering if it's done in color?
It disappears.
Well, I wasn't going to say it disappears, but it makes it so much easier when I
You
got to
blast
cover it
over.
in 6 months. Like when my
True.
intuition is telling me like, I'm going to be covering this.
No hard lines then, huh?
So we're gonna just do this all
Just
in
whip
lavender with like a
whip it
light
in.
pink highlight.
Okay.
Okay, that looks. You know what? We'll even make it nice and soft, like it was spray painted on there.
Fun
So-
selling the cover
my-
up in the beginning.
My
Right,
my
I mean,
my
shit.
confession is when my
This is my
intuition told me
confession.
that if not I would be the one covering it, but somebody would be covering it, I would try to make their job very easy. That's my confession.
Sure.
And I'm sorry
So-
to any clients who might be watching.
You've got that
who-
one chick out there that's like, God damn it, that's why she did this. in
There's
baby
actually
blue."
one
I
in
knew it.
particular
I knew
who
it.
I really did do it like lavender and creamsicle and
Creamsicle.
Uh-huh.
I love
lavender outline creamsicle
it. Yeah,
inside. It was
little
nice.
bit of time in the sun.
It really did look nice. It did though. But when I saw the same person who I had the conversation with, like, are you sure you want the name?
I think
And
as
you're
long as
sure
you're
you
honest
want the
with them,
name from
that's-
your wrist to your elbow, like your whole forearm.
Oh, poor thing.
Her favorite colors are lavender and orange. I got you. It's extra personalized this way.
Extra.
Now it's covered. It's a really bad cover up. I don't know who did it. I hate to say it, but it's like crazy stacked skulls, the traditional like biker style skull that has
What?
no anatomical reference, but
Like-
kind of like two
Like,
eyes
like
and a
the
nose.
ones on my ribs.
Oh, those are way better. Way better.
She's always just trying to be nice to me. I don't get it.
They're way better.
Just being
She
honest.
They're
said,
way
"No,
better."
No, that one was just that
Yeah,
bad.
they're way better. So, I mean, I did leave that artist a lot of leeway to do a nice tattoo for that
I
cover
gave
up,
you
and they
space
still
and you
chose
dropped
to
the
go
ball.
with crazy black on black and
Sometimes the cover-ups are worse than the original tattoo.
Right.
And, that's
Hence the seeking
double
expert.
malpractice.
Double
Yeah, it's like-
malpractice.
Two unqualified professionals.
Well, and that's the
Exactly.
thing. Now in 2022, as compared to 02, there is how many shops in Columbus?
Over 100.
The availability of tattooers is insane. So when you're reaching to the top, why are you mad when you got there? Because you had all these other options.
True.
You could have done and found, but you came to me. You saw what I did. You liked it. You came to me and you said, "This is what I want." Why do people then? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think their money is spent no matter where they spend it. If they're not happy with the service, they don't find value in it. They're going to be upset no matter what the decision was.
that makes sense.
You know, whether you're a qualified artist or not, if they just don't find value in the experience, they don't give a shit.
That's why I feel like the experience is so important with tattooing. Like we talk about the spiritual connection with tattoos and like between the tattooer and tattoo collector often. But like, I think that the energy on the day of the tattoo makes a difference because that's always going to, that memory is always going to be tied to the tattoo. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I remember the discussions that like Russ and I had while he was working on me. I remember the discussions with Adam and Ty. Like those are special, sacred times to me. I learned from those moments and I got to like enjoy their company as they were beating me up.
Right.
You know, and that all goes back to adding value. But on top of adding value, like this tattoo is a sacred thing that somebody carries with them for the rest of their life. And you want to have good energy attached to that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like all of your energy goes into it. So you want it to be a positive, mindful energy, you know? And I think, I don't know, I've definitely been in tattoo shops where it's like family run shop, chaotic, drama, you know, like where you can't concentrate, or shops where like it's just like metal blaring and you can't concentrate, or you know.
Those are, I mean, I feel like there's like chambers of tattooing that you pass through different chambers of tattooing to get to the adept chamber eventually of the professional. You know, you have to go through all of these street shop environments, scratcher environments.
It's like there's a checklist. Have you worked any Easy Rider events? Right. No.
Right.
Check.
Have you worked Sturgis? Right. Like, I mean, there's definitely degrees of tattooing, just like degrees of college, you know, or any degree of any organization.
You know, what if we've kind of joked around about this, but what if like tattooing had a belt system like jujitsu?
No, absolutely.
Like,
I mean,
a lot of people get stuck at blue belt for a really long time, and that's all right. That's okay. That's okay.
I love that you don't even do jujitsu and you still get that reference. Like you hang out.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't know. I hope I could call myself a purple belt. Could I be a purple belt?
One day.
In tattooing?
And
Yeah.
tattooing.
Oh, tattooing.
Yeah,
No,
100%.
I'd give you more than that.
You think?
Yeah.
Probably brown belt.
Thanks,
Yeah, I'd give you
Black belt.
I'd give you brown belt.
Yeah,
tip
brown and black for sure. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We'll just call it a high purple.
Honing the master.
No, I would say like a brown or black belt for sure.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely.
I feel humbled.
Yeah, I mean, there's a degree of professionalism that goes outside of just the application of tattooing.
We're not saying blue belts can't kill it.
No, blue belts definitely kill it, but they kill it with like touching bottles and shit still, or like blaring metal. You know, they don't fully grasp the full valuable experience.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got
Most people don't even get there.
I've got a couple of clients that are into Overkill. Have you ever heard of this band?
Oh my god.
Overkill.
So when they're here, if I have the shop to myself, way too heavy for my taste, but I'll put it on for them. Either of them, just because it's like a weird niche and not a lot of, I don't know.
They value that experience, and that's something that they would
I think
cherish.
Just the fact that like I remember means something to them.
Sure.
And then who doesn't want to get tattooed listening to your favorite music?
Right.
So if it's like, I like to ask my client what they're into. Late at night, Marty Holcomb works here.
He gets the radio.
Legend.
Yeah, we just put Pink Floyd on, or Robin Trower.
He's
really
got his
likes
own
Robin
station.
Trower. Yeah, I put it on one of those two for him whenever he comes in.
Because there's levels to this shit. He's at the top.
He's definitely wizard status.
What's like
whatever
18th degree black belt?
Yeah, he's
cool.
Grandmaster.
He's cool.
There's master and
Grandmaster.
grandmaster, and he's a grandmaster.
There's belts you
Grandmaster
can't
Marty.
earn. You
Yeah,
have to be
Grandmaster
given.
Marty for
That's
sure.
what-
Well,
handed them out.
he was a wizard.
But he's the one handed him out.
He literally looks like a wizard too, so it's even cooler.
He is the man. So the guy I work for now has a shit ton of Marty Holcomb tattoos.
Wow,
Like in the fucking
what
wild.
a fucking small world.
Back piece.
Holy shit!
3/4 sleeves.
Wait, Don?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
That's cool.
Oh,
dude.
Did
some
you just
Marty
learn
work.
this?
No, that was one of our
that's
first
super
conversations.
cool.
So
You left this out.
Well, no, I'm fairly certain. I told you we just smoked a lot of weed.
Oh,
So like
I would've remembered.
the first time I talked to him, it was over the phone. And I called and we were having a not necessarily business conversation that morphed into a business conversation. And by the end of it, he was like, "Hey, you should come sit down and talk to me. And I think you might, fit in around here, and we might have something for you to do." And at the time, I was gainfully employed and liked what I did. And I kind of laughed and was like, "Yeah, man, I'll swing by, but you probably don't want to hire me. Like, bro, I'm covered in tattoos. You don't want me in your shop." Like, yeah, he just goes, "Come stop by on Tuesday and talk to me." I'm like, "Okay, bet." He happened to live right down the fucking street from me. So I swoop through the house and I show up and he's heavily tattooed
That's awesome,
as well.
dude.
And it was one of those like, oh, maybe there is a wheelhouse that I can hang out in.
Right.
So it was really, really cool. Not only that, how many other people have seen a Marty Holcomb tattoo in the wild?
Not very many.
There's a ton of them out there. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong,
not very
but
many.
like, and
Big suits like that.
yeah, and it's he's got the big geisha by him. He's got the mermaid on his back. Like he's got a lot of like, that's Marty Holcomb. Like you can,
Yeah, if he's got a mermaid, that's Marty.
Mhm.
If it's like a mermaid, a dragon,
Dragon,
or a wizard,
Or-
it's
or
Marty
a mermaid
sick wizard.
with a dragon
with a
and
dragon
a wizard.
as a wizard's riding it in. That's Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really, really cool to make that link and not have the I know this is gonna sound dumb, but like tattoo shame. A lot of times there's this like, well, now I have to go and try to fit into this new environment, being the oddball out. And everybody has that over one thing or another. But when you're especially in an office environment, you're like, check out the new guy. He's got fucking tats, man. Like fucking throat tats.
Conversation started, bro.
Yeah, but it's the same combo.
Right.
Yes, I have a lot. No,
Yes,
I
they
won't show
hurt.
them to you. Yes, they hurt.
Yes, my butt cheeks are tattooed.
Yes, my butt cheeks are tattooed. No, I won't tell you how much money I've gotten all of them. And no, I have not counted them.
Yeah, I can't price them for you either. Sorry.
No.
I
get-
stopped keeping track a long
How
time
much?
ago.
What does that one mean to you? That's my favorite. What's that one mean to you? It means I like cool fucking tattoos.
Yeah. Well,
That's what it means.
yeah. I mean, I like to use that as an opportunity, especially as a
Well, you're a
tattoo
salesman.
salesman.
I'm not
Yeah.
a salesman.
I like to
don't-
use that as an opportunity to.
My favorite
sell
is
them a
who do you
tattoo.
get your tattoos from? What tattoo do you want?
Right.
Let's back that conversation
We
up.
were
a
at
little
a
step.
pool a few weeks ago. Ben and I are on pool league together. And somebody from the opposing team comes up and he's like, "Hey, how much would you charge to and Ben just full belly laughs as he does.
Take a deposit, Bobby. Before I even have a conversation, see, I'm like a fucking lawyer. You got to pay me to start. So if you want to talk tattoos with me, it's $100,
Sure.
and we'll start the conversation.
Sure. Hey,
Thank you for the $100.
that's reasonable, bro.
All right. Okay. Now we're starting our tattoo conversation, right?
What can I do
I don't
for you?
fucking tattoo. We good?
That's a pretty good one.
You walk into a Porsche dealership and just find the first guy in a fucking tie and try to hand him money?
Right.
No.
Right.
Fuck asses. It drives me insane. Drives me insane.
I believe that. I
Not
can see
everybody in the
that.
pizza shop's a chef.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know what I like is when, like, say my head is shaved and you can see my head and tell I'm a little tattooed. People will be like, "Oh, your dude tattoo."
Your dude tattoo?
Uh-huh.
Yep. Hey, dude, I'm her dude. Yep.
Sure
I'm
do.
her dude. Yep. Mhm. I'll be blasting that ink all over my girl, dog. What up?
Yeah,
Your dude
blasted.
tattoo.
I love your tribal. I
Hmm.
bet you we know the same people.
Then it'll be weird if I'm like, "No, I do," and they'll be like, "Oh, that's cute," and then I tell them my name and they're like, "Oh, I've been following you."
Oh yeah,
I
I
already
do,
know.
I do know your name. Sorry.
At the same time, it is kind of cool. One time I was going through the Taco Bell in Marion and I was waiting for my Baja Blast slushy. And the lady at the window was like, I don't know whether she saw my hand or whether she saw my head, but she was like, "Hey, you like tattoos?" I was like, yeah, I do. I go back to like playing on my phone. She's like, "Have you heard about this girl in town named Fawn Baker?" And I was like, "I'm
That's
Fawn
pretty
Baker."
Ma'am, that is me.
That's pretty cool.
It starts getting weird when that happens.
I got to have the full on, but do your parents still love you conversation at breakfast at a hotel yesterday. That
Usually
was
when I tell
that's pretty-
people
that
who
was
my dad is, that
amazing.
usually ends the conversation. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is my dad," and they'll be like,
Wait,
Oh.
who's your dad?
"Oh, His name's Estel Baker.
Estel Baker.
Yeah, people that know him wouldn't connect me to him.
Estel Baker sounds really regal.
You know,
Estel.
it's funny because my brother is the third, and then his son is the fourth.
Estel the fourth.
Oh
Yes.
my God. I
Mhm.
missed an opportunity here. Fuck. That's yesterday before leaving town, I was in Nashville and was having the free hot breakfast down in the lobby. Gotta soak up that B&G before you go. That's biscuits and gravy for you fucks that don't know. And I am literally standing there drinking one hand, plate of food in the other, and one of the hotel employees walks up to me and she goes, so do your parents still love you with all those tattoos?
She really said that?
Oh yeah, this is no
Oh
exaggeration.
my goodness.
And I looked at her and I was like, yeah, they got
was the South.
yeah, we're in the Bible Belt. And I was like, yeah, actually they got over it pretty quick. And she was like, oh, well, you know, the Bible says that this, that, and the other. And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, really, where in the Bible does it say that? She's like, oh, you know, and I'm like, I do, but like those parents that are so disappointed in me happen
Ben
to
will
be
be like, would you like me to tell you where
happened
it
to be a
doesn't
deacon
say
of a
that?
church, and my mom was the secretary of a church
Right.
for 14 years. So actually, I do. It's First Timothy. So do you want to talk about it?
Let's pull it up.
So, and that's what I said. I was like, so what it actually says is don't mark yourself with the mark of the dead, and that's because they would burn bodies and make ink out of the ashes, and they didn't get the fires hot enough. So there were still flesh particles inside of those ashes. And when they mixed it in to make ink, they were actually, giving people diseases. And they were fucking dying from it. I didn't swear at her because I was trying to be like with her. I was like, and people were dying from it. So it was more of a health standard. It was more of a, hey, if you continue to do this, you're going to be infecting people with bloodborne pathogens, and you're going to kill people.
Thousands of years later,
You're
we still
gonna
have the
go
same struggle.
bubonic.
So I asked her again. She was like, "Well, that's," and then she went on this rant about, "Oh, well, it says that you can't mark your body for this, that." And I was like, "No, actually, that's the only place in the Bible that says that." And she was like, "Well, good thing we have the New Testament then." I'm like, "Oh, so you're just saying anything in the first half's null and void then, right? So this conversation's pointless." I was like, I would love for you to Google any verse that tells me that
The
word
nice thing
tattooing is
about being
bad.
a heavily tattooed female in the South is that people short circuit even more
Oh,
and just
oh,
don't
sure.
even talk
It's
to me.
great.
They
Yeah.
just
It's
don't
great.
talk to me. Like they look at me and then I smile back and I'm friendly and I'm as polite as can be. I go out of my way. I hold the door as they're
Same.
just like side eyeing me, like short circuiting, like, what?
Does not.
and then it's all like,
compute.
it's all like colorful and like pretty and thought provoking and like, but wait, what does it mean? And it doesn't look like
right.
woman.
Yeah, the South's a different
Alone.
animal.
I mean, I was very, very
With the
polite.
tattoo
and
culture,
Yeah,
it
it's a
really
different
is.
animal, for
Yeah.
sure.
we got through the conversation, and I basically was like, I really hope you have a good day, and I really challenge you to do a little bit of research on this, because she was saying she wanted to get a tattoo, but because of her religious disposition, she thought it was incapable. And I was like, I really challenge you to just do a little bit of research and find specifics. And if you can find specifics, I'd love to hear about it.
I don't even want to hear about it.
I don't, because you won't find
them.
them.
They'll never.
It's not like I left my number with her.
Dude, there's so many people that I could focus my energy and time on that want tattooed. Then,
Bro, I'm two-handed it into the breakfast buffet. She
I know,
trapped
dude.
me in the corner. I'm like,
I'll be telling them
Oh,
that
I
too.
forgot you were holding the B&G this whole conversation.
I'm literally standing there like I'm trying to get shit for my plate, and she's standing in front. I'm just like, yep.
First Timothy.
Unfortunately, you happen to pick the motherfucker that knows both sides of this fence, and I'm sorry.
We have an expert.
You stepped up to me.
Hey,
And
you're gonna learn today.
I think she was almost looking for an argument, because she started off kind of like,
They usually are when
and by
they're
the
bold
end of it,
enough to say
I was so
something.
soft with her. It was a different thing. Well, have a great day, sweetie.
Got him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's usually South is a different animal, man. I worked down in Clarksville, Tennessee for a year, and it was different. And
1 year.
one whole.
How long was your
exactly 1
contract?
year.
Denny?
1 year.
We were
That was
there,
out
we
of
did
there.
it,
That's
and we
it.
left.
It was a military base. It was high capacity, very, very busy, and
Get it in, get it out.
man, that was a different animal. It was very slow pace. Everyone had a twang, it was
Mm-hmm.
Southern drawl.
I
And-
almost went to the street shop that was right down the road, just to peek in and kind of see the scene. But then I was like, who the fuck am I just to pop in and check this? So I didn't, because then I felt weird about it. And
See?
the hotel had free drinks, so I just stayed there.
I just like to check them out.
I did, but I didn't. I
One
didn't
of the
want to be
things-
weird.
one of the
I
things
felt like
I'm
being by
working on
myself.
for
Like,
us-
I get that.
new guy from out of town. Just
Dude, you know, like that's
checking
real
you out.
anxiety that a lot of people feel, even as tattooers. So if you're listening to this and you're not a tattooer and you go into a tattoo shop and you feel some anxiety or apprehension, we feel that too. Like we literally feel that too.
It's cool.
Especially alone.
Just say
Like,
hi.
Most tattoo shops kind of mean. So like when you
Yeah.
walk in, you don't want them to be mean to you and you just don't know. So
Well,
yeah,
and that's the other thing too. You walk into a busy shop where no one has time to engage with you, and now you're a nuisance.
sure.
And I'm not looking for a
Present.
tattoo. I don't have the time to sit down. I just want to see what flash you got on the wall. If you guys would dig my vibe, I really just wanted to check it out.
Sure.
What, you guys still running coils? What are you doing back there? It's Tennessee, we in the South. What's different?
Right.
What's different? That's really all. And that was kind of my overarching why am I doing this kind of thing? Like,
Sure.
you don't need anything out of their services. I felt like I was a pester.
One of my side projects that I'm working on for us that I'll have before Health City and then we'll have subsequently after is some press passes, some press credentials that'll have a QR code that'll take you right to our webpage and the Reinventing webpage.
So
So
now-
when you're just traveling and you want to just roll in, you can just throw your little lanyard on and be
Press,
like,
son.
What up? I'm Ben.
Stop what
This
you're
is who I'm
doing.
with.
I'm fucking important.
Yep. And then when people stop you on the street, you can be like, oh, well, if you scan this and the people that are bothering you about your collection, you can send them right to the tattoo collecting
see, look, bro.
webpage.
Actually, I differ
Turn that
a
frown
lot.
upside down.
I defer a lot of people to podcasts.
Yep.
Like, actually, I talk about my tattoos ad nauseum.
Dude, that's the way to
Ad
do it, man.
nauseum.
And you are more than welcome to tune into the past 80 episodes. If,
At
I
nauseum
haven't been on
for
all
3
of them.
hours,
Yes.
then not at all.
then not at all.
I think I'm going to go make a pot of coffee.
Fucking
See my
Hey.
drink over
You
here.
guys
I'm
want
gonna grab-
coffee? I'll grab you your drink and make a pot of coffee.
Sweet.
I'll leave it
All
to you
right.
guys to carry the conversation.
craziest body language story and go
Oh man.
off the cuff.
The craziest bot. I'm sorry, Toby.
Toby.
I'm sorry, Toby. My very first day of body language. Very first day, I worked my ass off. I was nervous. Thank you. I was very nervous. I actually worked at Stain Skin as like a guest. I was trying to get a job, and Anthony, bless his heart, was like, "Bro, you're not qualified. So you got to go to body language." And I was like, all right, cool. So I went to body language, and I was worried they were going to do the same shit, but Wes was cool and was like, no, you can kick it here. So my first day, I was trying to show like myself, and I really went hard and got done. I was a little nervous about meeting everybody. And then we kind of waited till the end of the night to kind of make our rounds and just like, hey, this is Danny, everybody, make sure, because it was a busy ass shop. And man, I hauled ass that day, but I was filling out my, I can't remember what he called it, but it was just a drop sheet basically.
Right.
And I dropped it. I turned around and Toby's fully clothed. Everything's cool. I fucking turned back around, and in a flash, he's butt ass naked, dick swinging.
I'm talking milliseconds.
Dude, it was the fastest fucking strip down I've ever. I mean, I blinked and he was butt ass naked and doing like the, the Silence of the Lambs dance. Yeah, it was hilarious, but that was probably the most remarkable story that I have. The BL. Most of the other stuff was so regular that it doesn't seem like that.
It was
Crazy. But I'm
It's
sure in
crazy on
retrospect-
recap, but when you were there every day,
Yeah,
like
it
you're
doesn't
saying,
seem crazy. I mean, we were throwing ninja stars and lighting shit on fire. We tormented Donatos.
poor Donatos.
We had
Poor
the
Donatos.
entire spectrum of Columbus in the shop at some point. I mean, I'm talking from literal homeless people to
Pork chop.
know,
Shout
yeah,
out my homie
dude.
Pork
We
chop.
had-
Holy
Dude.
shit. I haven't thought about that guy in years. Pork chop lived near the shop and frequently did oddball jobs for extra money. And the definition of job was very loose.
yeah.
He was a good
Yeah.
dude though. I wonder if he's still a thing.
I hope, man. I hope he's still kicking it.
He was in rough shape 20 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all pretty rough back then. But I mean, it was so common that at first I would go home and I'd be like, you won't believe what happened at work today.
Yeah, you just gotta stop.
And then it just eventually just stopped. Yeah, because it was every day. It's consistent. And in fact, it became my like little sanctuary, so where I would reserve those stories for just my homies, for just me and the people that knew about that place, because no one would understand.
You just don't get it.
Yeah, no one would understand. I mean, if you worked in a crazy street shop environment, you probably get the vibe, but this was a different level.
But that was and I was just a client there. Like I didn't work there. I didn't work there until
you did work there eventually. Yeah,
my late 20s or early 20s, excuse me. But like in my heavy collecting, really getting running there, I just hung out. I was just a dude at the shop, and that was the draw.
Sure.
Once you spent more than your first couple sessions there and you got immersed into the inside jokes, that was the draw.
Sure.
When they used to pass the phone around from the telemarketers, because the telemarketers used to not be able to hang up,
right?
And they would call all the time. It used to be illegal for a telemarketer to hang up the phone if you didn't say no to the product, right? And they would pass the phone around and bust these people's balls. It was like going to a carnival every time you got tattooed. Mm-hmm. And it was dinner and a show.
Every single day.
Like a boring day at Body Language was
somebody's
heard of.
And yeah, their entire life story. Like, I mean, something that you wrote home about for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But that was the draw.
Yeah.
And that was the niche, that was the community, that was the magic of watching that group of people push each other. It was fun. But everybody was there to do better. Sure. And everybody in that shop, willingly or unwillingly, was pushed to do better, and in the best way. Everybody around them was always helpfully critiquing. There was a lot of healthy competition. There was some unhealthy competition.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of it.
There was some unhealthy competition too. But at the same time, that bred fucking monsters.
Sure, there were some really talented dudes that came out of that shop
who did it that chunk of time.
Yeah, I mean, still to this day,
the people there now are all heavy.
Shout out to Body Language. Shout out to Joey Knuckles and Wes.
Wes is still there.
Yeah, Wes. Fucking shout out to Wes. Shout out to Joey. Shout out to Rich Cook, man.
Yeah.
Rich Cook right now, my buddy Rich Cook is suffering. He's got stage 3 leukemia. So he's a patron and a vet of Body Language.
He's no stranger to the show.
Nope.
We've talked about him several times.
Yeah, that's our boy. So shout out to Rich, man. Yeah. We love you, dude. But yeah, Body Language is it's a staple of tattooing. So shout out to Body Language too, man.
It's crazy to think that it's one of the few shops that was around at the birth of the boom in Columbus,
right?
If that makes sense. When Body Language, what was it, 92, 93?
I think it says 99 on the door.
Okay.
I think it says 99 on the door, maybe 98. One of the two.
Sorry, guys. No disrespect.
Yeah, I think it was like 98, 99. That's a long time.
Even still, that's a long time.
Dude, I was 10 in 98.
In 98, there was what, 6 shops, 7 shops?
Right. That's a long time, dude.
So to keep anything open that long is insane to me. And to think of the names that have graced that place is insane.
Sure. I mean, it's definitely bred some of the pioneers of tattooing today, literally. So
especially in Columbus.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Columbus tattooers, all of you guys are awesome.
And look at all those people now doing the same thing that in one form or another are bringing up the next generation artists. And that's been the coolest thing as a collector, for me as a collector, to sit back and just watch this growth. And to be able to sit and go, no, they started at this person's shop and then they worked under them. And now they're training these people. And now they've got a branch of people. And now they've all got people that are learning from. It's really cool to watch the styles transfer and the information transfer and everybody add their own. Like going down the list to some of these tattooers that are learning from the people that learn from the people in our shop.
Right.
To be able to see that, like, oh, you do that like this person
Right.
is nuts to me.
Dude, tattooing
Nuts.
is like, it's like, I mean, I'm a father. Shout out to my kids.
What up, Brooklyn?
What up, Keith? But tattooing is a lot like having a kid. It's like you watch it grow, you invest, you put your everything into it, and you really just hope for the best, but you get to see it right in front of your eyes. And tattooing is no different. I mean, I've seen tattooers come from the literal gutter and change their entire life around. And I really respect tattooing for that, but it does have a charm to it that, it's, I don't know, it can change your life. It really has something, some kind of a magic to tattooing. But I was fortunate to be able to have an abundance of great resources and great artists around me in body language. And Columbus alone, there's just like a mecca of tattooing. If you've never been to Ohio at all, but if you've never been to Columbus, Ohio, you are missing out on some really awesome tattoos.
Yeah.
There's some of the best tattoos out here. I mean, Cincinnati too is a killer.
Yeah, there's a ton of tattoos.
But
in
Central
Cincinnati,
Ohio
too.
in general is fucking the spot. So
It's nuts to me to think of the amount of shops now that are offspring. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this person left to go start this shop, and then that person left to go start this shop. And not that any of that is bad or indifferent. It's all growth. And I'm a big fan of anybody chasing their dream and growing and doing what they want to do. But to watch all these little offshoots and little branches and new little pockets and new little families and new little cliques then all bloom and grow and bring more people into their fold. It was cool. It's still cool.
It's like having kids
Like,
and watching them grow.
yeah, it's still cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh, so you work at so-and-so shop? Yeah. I know him from way back in the day. And they look at you like, oh, you're a geezer.
Right. And it's such a small community, dude. It's like, you think it's a huge community,
It's huge,
but
it's
it really
tiny.
is a tiny, small world of tattooers. And eventually we all meet each other, or eventually we all at some point, have some kind of a path we cross.
Well, that's what I love about Hell City.
Yep.
Like there's people that are from Hell City that I only see there. I couldn't even tell you where they're actually from, to be honest with you. You tattoo where? What?
Right.
But it's that weird, like this one thing brings us all together, and it's the common denominator that no matter what, it's common ground. I'll talk tattoos with somebody else with a tattoo all day long.
But the conversation with the other person tattooed, it might be like, oh, rad, who did that? And then 30 seconds later, you're talking about something totally un-tattoo related. It's like, oh,
just like in
you're
this
tattooed?
show.
We have many things in common.
We happen to have stayed extremely on task this night. I'm kind of proud of Denny. He's like, I came in with a fucking thing to say and hit it.
Oh yeah, dude. I was ready.
This show is notorious for bunny
We
trips.
diverge.
It'll happen.
An hour and a half
It
deep.
do
We're
be
like,
like that.
oh yeah, it's a tattoo show.
But at the
and,
same time, the show is designed around accidental learning. So
it is
I think tattooing was kind of designed around accidental learning. So yep. With it.
I would have loved to have been there the first time. They were like, oh fuck, that stayed. Oh shit. Let's put some more in, make it a smiley face.
And some caribou and some elk.
Some elk.
So
the
at
winter
the
goddess.
Paradise event in October that I went to and helped out with, they had some anthropologists, some tattoo anthropologists zoom in for some of the lessons and educational stuff. Prickly pear needles. Apparently, unanimously, it's always prickly pear needles. Any like ancient tattoo equipment that they found in caves or anything like that. Like apparently it has like the best texture to carry the needle into the skin. But they found like tattoo equipment, old like needles just kind of like wrapped around a stick with human hair or horse hair or
So what you're saying is if we're ever in nature and find a prickly pear, we're getting tattoos.
Yeah, we making it.
I am growing prickly pear now just because I think it's so cool. Like I will always have a prickly pear. I'm gonna bring one of the little baby sprouts into my studio space because like I feel like if so many tattooers discovered that like early tattooers that were basically making just crude marks, like if that's what they were using and that's what they could get to push the ink into the skin and not cause a ton of trauma, like
Can
they
we
must be onto
do
something.
matching face tattoos?
Prickly pear face tats.
pears.
You know what? I could
Oh,
probably
wow.
make us some prickly pear tattoo needles with some chopsticks. And
Face tattoos.
See, this is the shit
can
that
I use some
tattooers
like
do,
little? Can I use like?
When
Can I
they're
use, like-
bored,
bro. See, there's a
We're gonna tattoo like the ancients.
yeah, there's
Forget stick and poke. This is a prickly pear. Hold still.
we go
Prickly
full
pears.
circle
Yeah.
from like scratcher to professional back to fucking
Caveman.
tats. Like,
do you remember?
Like, oh, did
Do you remember
got that?
bowling alley tats? Were you there for that?
You know what, dude? I don't know if I was there that night. I think I came the next morning and you guys were telling about, like, I think Andy tattooed a bunch of shit.
No, so it was Davey Rips and Jamie hand poked
Definitely
anchors
wasn't
on
there.
each other at the fucking AMF on Barrage Street,
Oh,
bro.
no.
On like, hey, we're gonna have a mandatory group outing night.
Shout out to Davey.
Shout out to Davey busting anchors at the bowling alley with a hand poke.
Yeah,
kit.
tattooers are wild, dude. I mean,
Dude,
and we're the first to talk shit on scratchers and be like, "You're so foul,"
and they're out there.
gatekeeping, and then we're over here tapping shit with prickly pears.
You should
Dude, we're wild.
You should have seen
Wild.
the kids in the lane next to us. They were like, "Are they?" And one of the members of our fine crew was like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like, look this kid dead in the face and was like, "Shut the fuck up!" And I was like, "Dude, he's dead." But the point was made, and he shut the fuck up. So like, we got to finish the tattoo. Nice. Hood rat shit.
Strike.
How do you collect? How do you get? What's the word I'm looking for?
What?
Contract hepatitis.
How do you contract it?
Hepatitis is actually the scary one.
Is it?
Hepatitis
is it
pretty
from bowling
easy
alley
to
tattoos?
contract. I mean, hepatitis is the one that sticks to everything and like doesn't die right away like some of the other viruses.
I'm just trying to steer people away from the bad ideas that I just laid in front of them.
Yeah, hepatitis is a scary one.
Yeah, don't
Like-
do that shit.
If you value your
know.
liver, liver,
Even-
don't do it.
I mean, I know as wild as it sounds, I mean, we're tattooers and we're gonna be wild, but just be smart about it, you know, as smart as you can. That's just really I mean, it's not smart at all. Never mind. Don't even
Just don't.
just don't even
Just
do it.
don't.
Yeah.
Just don't. I feel bad for the infections that followed.
Yeah. Don't do
I
it.
really do. I wonder if any of those are still alive and kicking though. I personally opted out of bowling bro tattoos.
Yeah, I never got a bowling alley tat, but
Hmm.
shout out to bowling alley tats.
I did get tattooed above Surly Girl.
Never did that either.
I
was
wish I got
pretty much
tattooed
like-
above Surly Girl.
That's pretty much like getting tattooed. at
Man,
bowling
I'm
alley.
still sad that place is no longer. I mean, it's a great sushi place. Don't get me wrong, but
Malarkey.
every
There's no
time I
such thing
go
as
in
great
there-
sushi in Ohio.
it's pretty good.
I-
It's pretty
I-
good.
the
There's
place
some pretty
I-
good sushi in
The
Ohio.
place I go has 5 stars on the fucking
However,
door. It's delicious, but
Surly Girl.
in comparison to when you can see the ocean, it's trash.
Oh yeah. It's
There's
There's
trash.
no comparison.
But
to it.
here's
Exactly.
the thing.
It's trash.
Here's the thing about sushi inland. Okay, it might be just a notch down on the quality, but I'll take that because parasites.
Well, yeah.
By the ocean, you're closer to parasites. Inland, everything's been
Okay, so
frozen.
even fresh fish served on shore from boat is flash frozen.
Are you sure?
Oh, 100%
It has to be?
pass FDA regulation.
You're sure?
100%.
Because I'm pretty sure those
Has to
scampi
be.
I ate down in Tampa that we caught off of we
You
didn't catch
caught?
them. We didn't catch them. This lady was selling them in this
That
little
she
like
caught.
pop-up shanty.
Oh, this
but
sounds
caught that
legit
morning.
as fuck, Fawn.
I mean, I was 17, so like, how
And
would
you
I
died
know
from
better?
this experience?
No, I lived. I lived. Still
My
thinking
point being, if you're buying Shanty Shack fucking scallops,
they were scampi. They were like this big.
okay, so if you're eating sushi from a restaurant
Okay.
that has a license to do so, it has to buy their food from a vendor in order to sell it. In order to sell fish, it has to be flash frozen. Doesn't matter what it is.
Okay,
Unless
but
you're
what
serving
about
some
places?
back market fucking.
Okay, hold on. What about at the Outer Banks where you get blue crab all the time and it's like alive until they put it in the pot and then right in your mouth hole?
Unless you're buying some backwoods, we caught this off the back boat, eat at your own
They
risk.
did catch
shit.
it off the back boat, but Is this place called?
You're in Florida. I mean, you got Florida meat.
It's
What did you
Florida,
expect? I bet you there's some gator in there. You didn't even know.
You right. You right.
Most people that have eaten in Florida have eaten alligator.
Dude, gator's delicious.
I love alligator. I'm just saying
It
they
is
didn't know it.
delicious.
They probably thought it was chicken.
Sure.
It's probably
Yeah,
battered
gator's
and fried of some sort. I'm hungry.
I was
Can
thinking
we
about the
start-
last time I had gator nuggets. So good.
There used to be
That like chipotle mayo sauce.
there used to be an exotic
Lemon.
like restaurant in Columbus. They had rattlesnake mushroom portobello. They had alligator. They had ostrich. They had
Wild.
kangaroo meat. They had all kind. Yeah. It was delicious. Give me that funky meat, man. I'm in.
Sometimes I can. Sometimes.
I'm not eating it for lunch on Tuesday for no reason, but like, yeah, give me that funky meat. I'm in. Let's make a day of it.
Roadkill Wednesday.
No. There's a line.
Do you get into like the exotic jerkies and stuff like kangaroo and
No.
biltong or whatever it is?
Nah, I like my jerky to be beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have expectations. Beef jerky. Yeah.
You get down with bison?
No,
Really?
it's not enough fat in it.
Hmm.
It's too dry. It's chili. Like,
Do you like venison?
not jerky. I'll eat venison, but again, it's super lean. So if I make
Okay.
venison, I add a bunch of fat into it. Pork fat,
Yeah, you
generally.
gotta
And as a
throw-
chef,
So then we're eating.
gotta throw in
I
all
used
that
to be.
butter with the butterflies.
Yeah. You gotta soak. You gotta open up the muscles, pack them in with fat. Then
Ben gets
rise.
passionate when he talks about
he-
food.
he-
I'm
he
just
do-
fat
he
and
really do.
hungry. I think we should start ordering food and then having it delivered
Just like scarfing.
mid through.
Yeah, Samara, bruh.
Man, get some soup or something. I don't know. Take breaks. we got a volume control. It's your turn to eat. Your turn to talk. Start exploring some exotic cuisine on there.
We could.
like a-
Tattoo taste test.
Tattoo
Mm.
taste test on Thursdays.
Every Thursday. That could be a fun segment where we like
If you would
challenge.
like to sponsor
Okay.
Tattoo Taste Test,
Send a bunch of meat.
send food too.
Some squirrel.
I've had
Rabbit.
I've had rabbit.
Really?
There was the Studio 53 in Westerville used to have rabbit like on the menu. Delicious.
Where did they?
I don't know, bro. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. It was delicious though. They did like back quarters and then they did a stew. So good.
Rabbit stew. It's making me think of that show Yellow Jackets that I've watched too many times.
Yellow Jackets.
Yellow
or-
Jackets?
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's about the girls' soccer team that crashes in Canadian wilderness for like 19 months.
That sounds
on
like a fun
Showtime.
movie.
It's on Showtime. It's got,
That's like the perfect.
it's got Christina Ricci in it. She plays a psychopath. It's great.
I'm not sure any of those words that you're using other than psychopath, but I'm gonna look up Yellow Jackets now.
Anyways,
Should be
we
fine.
digress.
See, buddy.
It happens.
I feel it.
I
feel
mentioned
it.
the fact that we had been on topic. And
Yep. And then
So
right
I
off.
have,
Fucking
I have
ruined
a
it,
question.
didn't I?
Sorry, guys.
I have a
ruined it.
question.
Yeah.
What?
Who have you collected tattoos from?
Well, mostly my friends at Body Language.
Homies only.
Yeah, mostly homies. I try to collect every shop I go to or every shop that I work at, you know. Something. I've been tattooed by DJ Tamby, Willie Cutlip, Jamie Hickey, Rich Cook, Wes.
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 I've been tattooed by Bunny, which is a anonymous legend. Shout out to Bunny. If anybody knows who Bunny is,
Yeah, Bunny don't Insta.
yeah,
remember-
hashtag Bunny don't Instagram. Look up that shit.
I
Yeah, if you
remember.
collected a bunny piece, you're a collector.
Yeah, for
you,
sure.
You had to seek him out.
Yeah, you don't find Bunny on accident. It's just like you have to seek him out.
I remember early in my tattoo collecting phases, I was like, "So who do you guys
Right.
go to get
Yeah.
your tattoos to?" And
Right.
unanimously in the shop was, "We go to Bunny," and it was like, "Oh, okay."
Yep.
Yep. I mostly get tattooed now by my kids. They're younger. When they were 7 each, they started tattooing me. So I just kind of kept that tradition rolling and let them.
Would you be willing to let me tattoo you?
Absolutely.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. We should do it on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we go get my battery pack?
Let's
What
go.
do you want to do? We make it happen?
Not like right this
I
second.
can get you set up and ready to go in 10 minutes.
Maybe
So
we
that
could-
gives you got like.
Ben needs
you
time
still
to
got
plan
prep
this.
time.
Yeah, I need.
We got time
Does
to
he
talk
get
about
mentally
it.
prepared?
I
He's like,
can't
oh
do it
shit.
right now. I don't want to do it right now because I want to do it. I want to do something at least like quasi decent.
Let's do it on the show, bro.
All right, that means we have to schedule our next appointment with you.
Live tattooing.
I'll swap you.
Let's do it.
I'll swap you.
Tattoo 69.
It's because I'm a Cancer.
I am a Cancer, actually, so that's perfect. Shout out to Cancers.
Shout out to Cancers.
Hell yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
I've been collecting mostly just because of body language. When I first showed up to body language, I didn't really have many tattoos. My mentor tattooed me a bunch of times and it was awful. And I stopped getting tattooed early because I realized that they were awful tattoos. They didn't heal right. And I was young. I was 15 when I started getting tattooed, and I was 17 when I learned how to tattoo. So there was a little gap in between of me getting tattooed and learning how to tattoo that I just realized I'm just going to pause until
Mhm.
I'm a little bit more rounded. And once I started to explore other shops, I realized like, yeah, I'm glad I waited. But body language was the first shop. They were like, dude, where's all your tattoos?
Yeah.
And it was almost like a culture. It was like, you can't work here without tattoos. So let's get you tattooed. So sit down. And
Yep.
yeah, I started getting tattooed as often as possible. And then I realized like there's so many other artists to get tattooed by. So
Slow
chill.
down.
Yeah. So
I did the
started
opposite.
collecting.
I was like, "Oh, you're my guy.
Mhm.
You're start to finish. You're my guy. We're locked in." Then he was like, "Guess what? I ain't your guy. Sorry, bro. Send you to the wolves."
Yeah.
But you know, that's fine. I guess.
Collecting's
I'm
always
still
interesting.
butthurt, Wes.
It's always interesting.
Yeah, so salty. It's
I
okay.
am. I got
It's all right.
rad shit. Don't get me wrong, but
He wanted to be a unicorn.
I did.
He wanted to be the one
Stop.
artist collector.
Stop.
That would have been pretty cool to, like a
No,
whole,
I mean, I yes, we can say that all laughingly, but the pieces that I have, I love, and the ones that aren't from him, I love.
sure. Yeah.
Like
That's how it
for
goes.
for so many other reasons.
Sure.
than-
Absolutely.
Like I said, I have a homie only policy. I would have really been limiting my experience. And it really, I mean, my tattoo journeys led me down to some fucking cool shit that I have
Mhm.
no reason to access. No right to access. No,
It is pretty cool. You got a few different backstage passes by accident.
I got bumped to the front of the line and didn't even do shit. They were just like, yep, cool dude tattoos. There you go.
Well,
And I-
tattoos.
I love it. I'll take it. I'm not saying it, but it's afforded me some privileges that I never thought I'd have.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think collecting is something that as tattooers, you either do it or you don't. You either like continue to get tattooed in your career or you just stop and you just tattoo people.
Right.
There's a lot of tattooers that I know that haven't been tattooed for years. Myself included by like, I've been tattooed, but just like novelty shit. I haven't
Right.
had like a serious collector piece in a while.
Well, I don't think they're mutually exclusive or necessary on either end.
Mhm.
I think you can be a tattooer with little to no tattoos.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And kill it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're doing it because that's your art expression, not because you like to collect.
Right. You can be a
And you
collector.
can be a collector head to toe that's never tattooed.
Absolutely.
Well, and the thing is, we've got to take into account what is your motivation for collecting.
Sure.
Right.
And,
These
like I'm a
tattoos are
tattooer,
sweet.
but so for instance, I was just talking to somebody who was apprenticing under an artist that I totally respect. And he has her like tattooing her legs a lot right now. And I'm like, man, I don't want to like negate his teaching, but like to myself, I'm thinking like, don't do it. Save your real estate, girl. Save your real
Yeah.
estate. I couldn't have learned from the artists that worked on me if I didn't have the real estate. Like, I feel like he wants her to learn on her without, damaging other people. And like, she can go back and fix it later on is the mindset. But at the same time, like, won't you learn more if you wait 3 years and schedule an appointment with somebody like Russ? Oh, you're not gonna have
How
any
would he
real
get to see
estate
work?
to even schedule with somebody like that
Right.
because you were learning on yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot more options now too. You can buy the new skin, you can
Yeah,
buy the
dude,
pads and
there's-
things, you can tattoo grapefruits.
In
There's-
small towns, you've got an abundance of people that like need stuff fixed, finished, colored in,
Right.
you know what I mean? Where the outline's there, but like just redo the outline and recolor. It's great learning experiences. I don't mean to make like trite of those tattoos and those experiences,
I
but
mean,
when
we
you
don't-
can take like existing work and improve upon it, you learn from the previous artist's mistake. You learn from how the skin reacts. You learn how to deal with,
Right.
like, there's all these lessons you can make in a very, or lessons you can learn in a very like stress-free way.
Right.
But
In my collection, not every tattoo I have's purpose was to be the fanciest, prettiest, top of the end. Like a lot of the American traditional stuff I have, the point of it is to be blended and faded and look the way it does.
Kind of
Like,
crude. Yeah.
it's supposed to look kind of crude. That's
Right.
the style of the art. Not every I don't know how to say this without sounding degrading in any way, shape, or form. Not every tattoo is meant to be a fine art piece. And if that's not what you're after, and you want the script, go get the script. If you want the 2-colored piece symbol because your grandpa had it, go get it.
I'm
Like-
saving the rest of my left leg from the knee down just for little trinket tattoos. Like the moments are going to come where like, I want to get tattooed by this person and I want to have a little bit of real estate to collect something little in the time, in the moment. I may never see this person again.
Right.
Like we may never be in the same spot in the world again. You
One
know,
day
like
you'll
I
ask
want to
me.
have the space.
I'm just saying, you'll want it. You'll be like, Ben, oh my God, you're gonna have to tattoo me now. Just saying.
You're going to have to tattoo me one of these days. It'll happen. It'll happen.
That's when it becomes valuable. And that's back to the value conversation where, you know, if you're a collector or if you have a collector client, they value that, you know,
Right.
they value that the opportunity that you see them as a collector, or that you consider their collection like you, that, you know, that you reserve space for them, or you
Right.
reserved an idea, or that you reserved an idea or space for another artist so that they can keep collecting, you know, they
Right.
value that stuff. So there's just
I
there's a
left
level
this
of that.
end open so it can blend into your next piece or whatever you decide to do in that area. That consideration is hard to find when
Right. You
people
don't,
are solely focused on this has got to be the, you know.
right. And that's a lot of times having that conversation with the client, and that value conversation, you'll find out exactly what they value so that you don't overstep your boundaries. So you don't, a lot of times artists are grandiose, and we like to see more of our works, especially the really grandiose artists. They like to see their work in big capacity. You know, they want to see the whole leg done. They don't want to reserve anything for anybody else. So a lot of times they overstep their boundaries, and they might creep into a prime real estate spot that could have been reserved for something cooler,
You know
Yeah.
what?
maybe by somebody else.
So this is a lesson I learned when Adam and I were working on my leg. When he was like drawing and working up, you know, Adam like you like usually takes like the whole like butt cheek and all the way down and takes like the entire limb and makes that whole like hip butt super robotic and functional.
Shout out to Adam Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, as he was drawing up, I was like, I really want to stay off of my butt cheek. I don't want to go like, I want to go up my hip, but I don't want to go onto my butt cheek. And he just like, cause he was like already drawing on me. So I'm standing on the stool and he's kneeling on the floor. So he like looks up at me and he's like, why don't you want to go on your butt cheek? I was like, well, when I get my back piece, I want it to come all the way down to the bottom of my cheeks. And I want my back piece to be cohesive. And he was like, good reason. Okay.
Fair.
See?
Yep. So in that moment with him, I learned that that's something I need to ask my clients is,
Right.
do you plan on this being a full sleeve one day, whether
How
it's me
valuable.
that does it all or whether it's somebody else? Because, you know, you can like cleanly cap off a half sleeve, but then it's really hard to tie into if they change their mind and want to turn it into a sleeve. So
Right.
instead of capping it, you can just fade it. You know what I mean?
Wes looked me dead in the face and he was like,
You're gonna get a half sleeve. Really? You're stopping at a half sleeve. Because I did my full leg before I started on my arms. So he was like, okay, so let's think about that.
Right.
And we'll revisit
call,
that.
Wes.
We'll start on the bicep. but like, yeah, well,
Yeah, good call. Yeah, that's in the
Next
value
one was 4.
conversation. I usually I will start with, well, why do you want this project? Why now? That's when they can tell you, like, I'm collecting, or or I plan on collecting more pieces of the, hopefully they'll tell you that, because a lot of times you got to keep going, but hopefully they have that idea on their tongue and they're ready to tell you. You just got to ask the right question. And they'll tell you, like, I'm going to get my back and ass done. So, just work on my thigh like we were intended. Don't go into my ass, because you're going to ruin the real estate that I plan on doing later. And if you didn't ask me, or if I didn't tell you, then we wouldn't have had that conversation.
Right.
And then you would have fucked it up for me. And then there would have been a level of resentment, whether it had been internalized and you would have never
Well,
actually.
I don't know that
externalized
it would have necessarily been a resentment, but it would have just made, like, the idea of the way my back piece came together, that never would have come if we didn't have complete symmetry in all directions.
Sure.
So, it was just,
I'm good, dude. Thank you.
where normally, like, even when I work, if I can take up like that whole, I don't necessarily have to come all the way around like onto the cheek, but that whole like outer panel of the body, like I like to use all of that as like, just because it's such a big, nice open piece of skin, and it's
absolutely.
not real painful. So you can really do some stunning work in that spot without just like the torso is brutal. The legs, not as brutal.
I was very fortunate to, after I shifted to getting tattooed by other people, was able to be like, hey, I want you to tattoo my leg. I want you to tattoo my back. I want you to, this is your area. Like, I was able to be able to do that with a couple of people. And not that I wish I would have done it different. I love every tattoo that I have. But if I would have had that mindset with the stuff on my chest, if I would have had that mindset with the stuff on my ribs, and really thought more of cohesive plan, I probably wouldn't have got some of the larger pieces that were like patched on early.
Sure.
I would have thought, no, I want a chest panel. Not now I've got like one big side.
You've got this cool like chesty armpit area we keep talking about.
I know.
It's okay. We'll get the legs finished first
can we
before
finish
we
my
even
leg, please?
start talking about it.
Can we finish my leg?
No pressure.
We've got a year of tattoo in there at least.
No pressure. Like the way I'm like hiding behind my own
no
coffee
pressure.
cup.
I've already got it drawn. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'm very looking forward to being done getting tattooed. I am ready to fill in the fucking gaps.
I think it's going to be bittersweet for me. I think it's going to be
call it
sad when
done.
I button up my bodysuit. Like I said, I'll still keep below the knee open, but it's going to be kind of like a bittersweet day. It'll be like no more collecting, no more of those like life altering sessions, no more of those like rock you to the core, make you reborn kind of experiences.
I've been born enough.
Yeah.
You've
been born enough times.
Yeah. There's been enough core rocking experiences in my life, and I'm cool with just trying to float now. Like it's cool.
It's maybe that's kind of like achieving the black belt as a tattoo collector.
Exactly.
Once
I'm
it's
done.
like
I've done it all.
I've experienced the worst.
You went through all the chambers, bro. You got all the
There's
degrees.
nothing else that I want.
No.
I have every.
You have a bodysuit, bro. Like,
We're
what else
getting-
can you get?
We're getting there.
Oh, he's got tiny little spaces here and there. A big
Right
big
there.
space here.
She wants it.
It
She
like
wants
it's
that
like
sweet meat
it's like
so
this
bad.
2 or 3 palm area, and then like here and here, but it's all one cohesive.
So I told you what I want to do there,
We've talked about it a few times.
right? Right now I'm focused on getting my torso wrapped up. I want to get all my background done on my belly and all the filler in up on, and then we'll talk about pitties.
I think everybody should get their armpits
But we still
tattooed.
have like
So Hell City's coming
2
up. Did you
thighs
guys
to
you guys got to
tattoo.
see Brian before he left, right?
yes, that's
Brian's one of our favorite people. Brian
Good to see.
Midkiff. We've had him on as a guest. But we were talking about the tattoo competitions at Hell City this year, and he was asking if I was going to be entering anything. And I was like, I don't know if I should enter any of the competitions, because I'm going to be like walking around with my camera, talking to people. I'll be up on the stage, like, while the competitions are going on. So I don't know if I want to insert myself. But then again, I haven't entered my back. It wasn't finished yet.
Right.
I took best all around female in Phoenix last time, but my back wasn't finished yet. My leg wasn't tight and cohesive. My armpits I don't think they were finished. They were started, but not finished.
I find Hell City hard to dedicate time to being.
So
in the
here was my
competition,
question.
so.
If I enter my armpits, what category do they go in?
Armpit tattoos.
Is there armpit tattoos? I
There
don't think that's a
should be.
category.
You'd win.
Could I just enter that in the chest piece? Or is it torso? Is it torso?
I think it's
rib,
torso.
chest? Is it torso? It would be, I could enter it in torso then.
Just put it in bio.
I should definitely put it in bio.
Just put it in bio.
I
Just do
should.
the whole panel in bio.
I
Don't
should.
fuck off and take everybody's prizes.
Do like my chest and armpits. Do like my chest and armpits and call it a 3-way collab.
Sorry, guys, you get nothing.
The
Taking
trifecta.
all the trophies.
Guy, Adam, and Ty.
Yeah, the only reason Brian asked is 'cause
Behold.
he didn't want to, like, he knows what categories to avoid.
Nah, stay out of that.
I don't know. I do still like entering my stuff in competitions, but at the same time, in this capacity, I can just throw on some pasties and show my work off as I'm explaining who I am and what I'm doing, and then put my clothes back on. And
I haven't been in a grand total one tattoo competition.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
I talked him into it.
Because you
Nice.
made me.
But didn't you place? Didn't you get an award?
Yeah.
See?
I won a bunch
awesome.
of shit. Actually. I got first place Japanese. Shout
Awesome.
out to Kevin fucking Stress.
See?
Shout out to Kevin Stress.
This,
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
it?
Yes.
Was it the Cincinnati?
It was the Villain Art show we went to.
I think it
was
was the
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati show.
Then I got second overall collector. I got third back piece from Rich Cook. Shout out Rich Cook.
Shout out to Rich again.
What else did I win?
So you cleaned house the first
See, yeah,
competition.
bro, look at this
He's like,
guy.
"So I've only ever been in one, but like
But-
I won an award for every
He's an
category. I entered."
award-winning collector.
Award-winning
Aw.
collector Ben Thomas.
Oh, I'm
Dude,
gonna put that
we
on
are-
my fucking resume.
You should, bro.
I'm
I'm gonna make you a belt.
tattoo collector.
Would it be
Award-winning.
cheesy if we hung our awards behind us?
No.
Like our collecting awards?
No.
He's like, no, run it.
Because I've thought about it, because like they're just sitting on my curio cabinet at home.
Run it.
Okay, so I have promised Kevin, I don't know, a year ago, that I would bring him the trophy or plaque to winning said Japanese piece.
Hey, bro, that's your trophy.
I have
Nah,
another
bro, they give you
confession to
two.
make.
Oh, that's cool.
They give you a plaque and a trophy.
That's cool.
And I have the tattoo.
You get to keep one of those though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna let him pick. But like I told him like the weekend after, I was like, hey, bro, I gotta swing by the shop. I gotta drop this thing off to you. And then my life got a little out of balance and chaotic, and I totally forgot.
You
And
know what we
then-
could do? We should invite Kevin to join us on the show and you could present it to him.
and just cry on him. I'm sorry, dude.
I'm sorry, I'm
That's
a bad
friend
collector.
to you. But that needs to happen. So I need to make a time to.
I have another confession to make.
This is my confession.
Let's hear it.
So I had a whole box of awards.
Like bowling trophies, huh? What
Oh
happened to them?
yeah,
Fawn?
like well, they just sat in a box with the full intention of me mailing them out. It's not like I was displaying them as they were mine. Like they were even like divided. Like these go to Adam, these go to Ty, these go to Russ.
How'd that work out?
Well, I just finally a few weeks ago brought it in, and Jess, our awesome warehouse manager, sent them out for me.
Jess, I'm gonna give you a list of addresses. Hook me up.
Yep,
She's
but they're
amazing.
well deserved. Adam happened to be here. That's what spurred me remembering to bring them in. So I gave him the ones
I
for
have
him and
something
Ty.
yours.
Yep, that's how it went.
Yep.
And then once I brought those in, I sorted everything out. And then I think I only had ones that went to Russ. So, but
Nice.
finally I did the good collector thing and mailed the awards, or had Jess mail the awards.
Shout out to Fawn.
Shout out to Fawn for mailing the award.
It
Shout
really
out to
does.
Jess for getting them in the mail.
It really does. Like, it does make a difference. Like, take those, if you enter a competition, like, don't let them sit around forever. It's sucky that I did that.
I said I was sorry.
But it really does make your artist feel good, you know. Little nudges like that let an artist know that they're on the right path, and people
Right.
are taking time to notice and pay attention and look at their work and deem it better than other work by other artists they look up to. Like, that means a lot to artists.
Especially in a
And-
place where people are there to showcase their art.
Right.
Yeah.
And it also helps to position an artist when they are an award-winning artist. I mean, let's just be honest. If you can say that you're an award-winning artist and you can show a trophy, it helps position you higher. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Not
your
only
clients
do
value
I
that
think
shit.
I'm awesome. Here's physical evidence.
But your clients will
of
think
it.
that's awesome
A
because
panel
they're
of
going
my
to brag.
peers also think I'm
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And your clients will brag to their friends and their friends' friends. And
He was in this.
he's an award-winning
magazine.
artist. Yeah. I mean, I get tattooed by an award-winning artist. How dope is that?
Mhm.
You know, and that's valuable to a lot of clients. So yeah, send your trophies to your artist and
Don't
make
be
sure.
bad collectors like me and Ben.
Sorry.
But
Yeah.
also, if you happen to be a tattooer and a collector, don't display the awards for
Like
your
it's yours.
collections as if it's an award for the work that you have done.
Or do it. Live your best
that's-
life. If
that's-
it's being a chode.
That's
if your
being
best life's a
deceiving.
chode.
Yeah,
Just
don't
saying.
do that. I hear about that sometimes.
Yeah,
Don't
see
do
that.
that.
Sometimes. You'll see a wall of plaques or trophies and you're like, damn, you cleaned up. And they're like, yeah, I got some trophies from my collection. And
Mhm,
you see that and you're like, come on, but you don't say
Mhm.
anything. Yeah,
mhm.
totally.
Yeah, I'm the guy. I'll say so.
As a collector, I mean, you can display all your shit, but I mean, if your clients are sitting in your chair and they're thinking that you're the award-winning artist because you've won some awards that you've actually drawn or tattooed, and it's
It's
not.
a little different.
Yeah.
That's misrepresentation.
Yeah,
100%.
I wanted to bring. I have a couple little trophies, but they're kind of like tucked behind some artwork and stuff. But like they're trophies for my collection. They're not trophies for my work, and I don't want to deceive people. But like I'm so proud of my tattoo work, and I like having that
Sure.
conversation. Like, oh no, this took so many hours and it hurt so bad. Let me tell you about the time that I had an emotional breakdown on my chest piece, and then
Right. Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
those trophies have like a different
Well-
representation for me as the collector because
You're also opening up an avenue to help somebody in the situation that they're currently in. If you can sit
Yes.
there and be like, hey, look, like I got blasted.
well here's the other thing
Trust,
is
listen.
when I'm sitting down and I'm having that consultation with somebody and when I'm in that mindset of like I'm being their tattoo coach right now.
Right.
Like we're starting a big piece and we need to plan how the rest of their collection is going to go, even if it's not just me. But that gives me like as a collector, as somebody who cares what my collection looks like, that gives me a little bit of like, well, I mean, my collection's pretty unbeatable.
Can I get a job as a tattoo coach?
Yep.
I
And
think we're
just
working on it. Once I
start-
get
That's
your
exactly.
credentials made, Ben.
Start being like a tattoo liaison.
Bro, you
You're like, hey,
are.
I have got this qualified client for your work.
Mhm.
I understand your scheduling process. I've already pre-qualified what he needs and wants
yeah,
from you.
dude. Absolutely.
Are you willing to make a appointment with my client? Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah.
How much would they have to pay for your services for that couple hours of your time
don't
to
like
figure out
monetize-
their idea
I don't
and
like
then to pass it
monetizing
on?
things.
Oh,
You gotta monetize.
you just want to be the liaison just cause?
Yeah.
What's
Just
your
do it.
Instagram handle?
Don't. It's a one motherfucking person.
You don't
asking
even
for
gotta
advice.
make a post.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I've always been that guy. When you're the buddy in your job or your workplace or whatever, that oh, he's got a bunch of tattoos. Ask him.
right.
The first question: where do you get your stuff at? What tattoo do you want?
You're the expert.
Do you want some coffee now that the pot's done?
Yes.
Do you want cream?
No.
Just black?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want coffee?
No, thank you.
All right. I'll be right back again. It was like jet fuel when I poured mine. So I was like, I gotta let that finish brewing.
Took it from the top.
Yeah.
Took that hot dose. It's probably a foolish decision to be having coffee. At what time is it? 8:00.
Oh yeah. It's like crack is the boss.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Now I'm like, where do I? Oh man. Later, buddy. The beautiful thing about our place is we get to talk to everybody. A lot of people in and out of here. So what's your next fun piece you're working on? What's next thing you like?
Man, I got cool projects cracking up. But as far as tattoo wise,
Not life.
man, I got all kinds of stuff going on. I'm in a couple of bands.
Talk to
So
me, daddy.
my baby band, my brainchild is Reaper. It's REPR. It's like I said, it was a TV and film sync production music company. And
Explain that.
I make rock music for content, essentially. Like you've watched movies, you've seen daytime TV that has, a soundtrack, essentially.
Yeah.
I make the soundtrack, but my genre is specifically rock, hard rock, alt rock, anything rock related. That's my niche. So I lease music, instrumentals, I'll lease full songs. We Spotify stream, we do all that stuff. I'm also in a band called New Sun. I'm a bass player, but I'm also, I'm just more of a financier. But the band is cool as shit. Jacob Mooney's the producer. He's actually the main component. He writes and records all the shit. So
nice.
But I'll be playing live bass essentially. But yep, it's with the drummer from Starset, Adam Gilbert.
Nice.
Shout out to Adam Gilbert,
Yep.
longtime friend. What up, G?
Yep, Adam's on tour right now with Breaking Benjamin and Seether. So
Who's he playing for?
he's playing for Starset, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, Starset's
Man,
on
I
tour
remember
with
when
them.
I discovered Starset. I came to see In This Moment. They were at Express.
Yep.
It was the LC at the time, I think. And they blew me away. I
Yeah,
had no
So wait,
idea.
you were at the Starset show at the LC?
It was
It was white girl
In This
wasted in the
Moment.
lobby. Yeah, I was at
In
that
This
show.
Moment and
Yeah, it was a
Starset.
Blitz show.
I was not, I'm not going to say I was white girl wasted, but I definitely had my share of Blue Moon that night.
that was
Like
the
I
night
can't say no to Blue Moon when I am at that place. Like
Yeah.
that place is where like Blue Moon tastes the best.
I'll never forget this conversation. Hey, you guys want to come to the after party? No, bro, we're not gonna make it to the after party. Why not? I was like, she's drank way too much. Oh, I'm good. 5 minutes later. I'll never forget that. We were riding home in the car and she was dead ass talking to me, just falling asleep.
I do be like that sometimes.
Bro, the bartender was feeding us triple shots of fucking Fireball all night.
But look, here's what blew me away about Starset is the board that he plays with. Like
The
the
moving keyboard?
translucent. Yes.
Do you know where they got that from?
I don't know, but I want one.
Trent fucking Reznor.
Yeah, there's
Trent Reznor named something that had to do with a cool keyboard, and he did it 10 fucking years ago. He was the goddamn man. But do you want to know something absolutely hilarious about Adam Gilbert? Band
do.
Geek connection.
Yeah.
Band Geek connection.
Always.
Fucking marching band nerd.
Always.
Oh, wow.
That's how him and I know each other.
he is one of
Marching
the
band,
best
dude.
drummers I've
Ever.
ever fucking
Ever.
met.
Ever.
Dude.
It's insane to watch that kid play. We went to different
Shout out
schools.
to Drum Abuse.
Had the same drum instructor. So my drum instructor transferred schools after I left and ended up teaching him. And we linked up by circumstance at a different show. And I was talking to him. My buddy's an 8-pound, and they were playing a set with them. And I ended up talking to Adam, and I was like, "Dude, you play just like this guy I know." And it when you watch somebody's hands and you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like. I was like, you play like this guy, Mark Ritchie. I've known him for fucking years. Like, it's insane to me the way you watch it. And I watched his face now. I was
That's
like,
my dude.
he's like, dude, that's my high school drum instructor. I was like, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Bros ever since.
Yeah. Starset's fucking awesome.
I met him before, so
Adam's
who's playing.
the Jacob Mooney's the producer. He's awesome. The singer of the band is Ehab Amran, who
Fucking
sings for South of Eden,
South of Eden,
which is
Black
another
Coffee
fucking
original.
awesome band, dude. In their own right, they have they're like a retro rock band, you know.
So South of Eden, originally Black Coffee.
Black Coffee. Yep.
Played for Hell City.
Oh, dude.
We knew
Nice.
them when they were baby bands. So
Yeah, wild.
I used to work for O'Shecky's. Remember the little rock
Yep.
club we used to work for? Black Coffee played at O'Shecky's all the time.
Shout out to Ehab.
Shout out to Ehab. And he's gonna think I'm a dork for remembering all this stuff.
No, he's
But
cool,
like,
bro.
remember watching their sets when they were baby band, and then to watch them bloom into even playing at Hell City. I had a conversation with them there, like, I watched you guys since you were little, and they thought that was cool. And even now to watch them progress into the South Eden's fucking huge now. That's my dork moment.
Dude, it's
I watched
crazy.
them bloom.
Yeah, it's crazy watching these dudes. I mean, I've known Adam for a while because of you. And it was just like when we reconnected.
Wait. How did you?
We actually, so it's a funny story. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but I was at your house one day and I think I was just hanging out, and then I must have just been in town from Vegas. And you said, "Hey dude, I got somebody coming over. They're in a band, they're touring. They're in this band called Starset. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're playing Rock on the Range." And they were playing Rock on the Range that night or something.
That was at my house.
They literally stopped at your house. And Adam, and I think it was, I want to say it was his friend Brock. It wasn't another member of Starset. I want to say it was just another friend, or maybe it was another member of Starset. I don't remember, but they both came in and they played on your drum set in your basement. And then they mingled. They said, "What's up?" We hung out for a minute. They
don't remember,
dude.
this.
I remember this. I met Adam. It was a cool night, whatever. But I mean, it didn't really. Like,
was it a party?
No, it was just hanging out, dude. Just hanging out. Yep. It was like 4 dudes just hanging out for 15 minutes or something, just in passing. 10 years later, I'm in a band with the dude, and actually, I hired him. First, he's a drummer. He's a freelance drummer. So I hired him to drum for a track of ours, which we met at Vaughn Studio. And then from that project, we kind of just turned it into a whole band.
Nice.
So it's actually really cool. You could probably see a video on YouTube. It's called New Sun, Fear Me Now.
Wait.
We shot a video and everything, dude.
So what I'm hearing is you owe me what, like 5% for putting this project together for you?
Dude, at least 3. At least. It was 10 years in the making.
Music liaison.
Yeah, music and tattoo liaison. This man connected. But yeah, it's a really cool project. It's new metal as fuck. We do some rap and like rock, metal, everything. It's cool shit.
Can I come guest vocal?
Yeah, sure. You might have to fight Ehab for that, because the dude loves being in the studio and loves recording. So
I'm sure there's a style he doesn't like.
Good luck, bro. He's a beast, dude.
I love him. I love him.
Yeah,
I'll just back him up. Can I just back up?
Sure.
I don't be the spotlight. I just want a mic.
But yeah, that's literally what I'm doing music wise. That's my life. Besides being a dad and being a business owner. And
how old are your kids now?
15 and 13.
Jesus.
Yeah, almost 16. But yeah, it's
insane,
man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's a long time, but
fucking dad.
We're here.
We're here.
Everybody's
here. Alive.
Yeah, we're here. Shout out to my kids. Shout out to Lindsay. Yeah, so we're here.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I didn't grow up with a lot of people, and you're one of the few people on that list that we traveled through adulthood together. And
yep,
seeing a lot of the different turns that other people have made. I've always admired the steps you made, and always admired the way you've held yourself and carried your business.
Amen.
It's
I appreciate that.
Yeah, bro. It's always been cool. It's nice to see your friends do well. You've always been on that list of like, that's my dude.
it was a rocky road, but there was
no one knows the rocks. You don't tell them about
dude. There's a time in my life where I didn't see my self-worth, and I think a lot of artists go through this creative block where. I read this book recently, and forgive me for forgetting the title. I think it was the Artist's Way. It was like the spiritual journey to being an artist or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's called The Artist's Way, and it put a lot of perspective into my life here about tattooing. Just because while I was learning and becoming a tattooer and developing, so much of life happened and passed me by, and I didn't know necessarily how to translate what I was going through. Mm-hmm. And I buried myself in my work. Whereas a lot of people don't necessarily even explore their creative options. They don't explore any of their creativity. And I feel like everyone has a level of creativity that they can explore, and then they can grow that like a muscle. And tattooing with me specifically, I buried myself in my work, and I eluded from handling and processing my shit. So I got really good at tattooing, but I failed a lot of relationships. Mm-hmm. I fucked up a lot of shit. So it was me having to like take a step back from tattooing and repair regular life stuff. That was like the stuff that no one's seen. So while they were watching my journey, they're seeing me grow and progress, and like watching my work get better, but they weren't seeing what was going on behind the scenes. And that was something that like I'm able to talk about now, but it was very hard for me to talk about in that time because I was focusing on my work. I didn't even really care about that shit, to be honest with you. It was just like, get the work done, focus on your career. So it was a transition for me, but learning about my self-worth and learning about my creative blocks and stuff, and learning just about creativity in general, and trying to find a spiritual balance with my creativity, and knowing that like there's more to life than just working, but there's also a creative balance that you should have and explore when you're in a creative design position. You should try that. So
it's funny, I was just having this conversation recently with somebody, and I was like, it's funny, like, to be in the situation I'm in, because I find that I'm happier if I budget my time and energy rather than budgeting money. Like when it comes to scheduling and things like that, it's really like, how much energy do I have and how do I want to divide that energy? And once I start looking at it like that, like while I work, I want to set time aside because it makes me do better work. So if I look at my life in a whole, or as a whole, I want to set aside those dollar figures and just worry about the energy. Because like if I put my energy in the right places, the money comes.
Right. And money's abundant, guys. We print the shit. So, time is not abundant. So yeah, your time can feel more valuable and more satisfying when you budget that better. You can definitely, you can be in a healthier position of life when you have more time that is non-refundable. You don't get that back.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
there's a study that says that, and I wish I remembered what my reference was, but anything over 60K a year really has no effect on quality of life. So there's no, you can have a Porsche, but you still have a car.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're not lacking in quality of life by not driving a Porsche.
I see what you're saying.
So,
like
like,
things might be more luxurious. But
Yeah,
it's
you
the
can-
quality of life actually.
You can
any better.
buy more expensive shit, but all your needs are met, and you can still have the same quality of life with less of a budget when you stop chasing the Gucci belt.
Mhm.
You can buy a $30 belt that's fucking sweet,
sure.
that holds your pants up,
You
and
know
your
what?
quality of
Dude,
life is the
but you could
same.
also have a fucking Gucci belt and
Rock
still
that fuck.
have,
I ain't mad
you
at
can
that.
have, you can have that. That's the thing this is what I came here to say, is that as somebody who came from nothing, I was poor growing up and didn't have money at all. Seeing $1 million now, it doesn't seem impractical, dude. It doesn't
Right.
seem impossible. It doesn't seem like what I'm saying is that you can have wealth, you can have status, you can have a position, and you can have time.
Right.
You can have it all. You can have, to a degree, you can have it all. If you want a Gucci belt and you still want to spend time with your family, then there's a strategy involved.
Mhm.
You don't have to work your ass off like a slave to get that Gucci belt. So, and not work anymore so that you can spend time with your family. You just have to have the right balance. And like I said, I came here to say that you can balance that with value-based pricing, get out of the hourly pricing model, see your self-worth, position yourself and niche down in your focus. You can absolutely have all of that, dude.
Nice.
Because I've changed my entire course of my financial future, my entire course of like how my business runs and operates, my relationships with my clients, my retention rate, everything changed the minute I decided that this is the position that I'm going to be in.
Nice.
And then I started exploring these positions. And yeah, there's absolutely no reason why you can't still stunt and flex and drip and but have all the time in the world with your family and friends without feeling like you have that anxiety of like, I have to wear a $30 belt because it's still a belt. There's people that do value the Gucci. There's people that do value the $30 belt. It is just a belt, but you don't have to, what I'm saying is you don't have to compromise on what you value just because you feel like you have to do something because of society or
That makes sense.
you can have it all, dude. So if there's people have a phobia of success, they have this self-sabotaging a lot. I was guilty of it, so I can identify it in a lot of artists, and it's actually addressed in that Artist Way book where we self-sabotage ourselves when we get to a level of success, whether we feel we're deserving of it, whether we feel like somebody told us that we were never going to have it. And we believe them. We didn't give ourselves permission. whatever it is. But we, as artists, we eventually will cap ourselves,
Mhm.
and we don't have to. So it's like, why are we allowing ourselves to have a limit when we could potentially be limitless, as far as our career goes? You don't have to work ever, but still be in the industry. You can still make a fortune, and just reinvest your time and your effort and your energy and still do what you love.
So I'm as an unskilled person, I'm gonna need you to teach me this model
Sure.
on something that's not art based.
Sure. Dude, value-based pricing
Let's
works.
apply this. Let's
All right.
apply this somewhere else. with
So
me.
let's think.
I didn't mean right this
landscaping.
second. I just meant like,
Well, just to clarify, because some people do need some help with value-based pricing, and you can explore this across all industry, because one, value is subjective to everyone. So
Right.
I'm good. Thank you. Value is going to be subjective to everyone. What I find valuable and what you find valuable are going to be completely different. They can be the same, they can parallel, but they typically are different. So if I was in the thinking of in terms of a landscaper would come and they would just give you a price for your yard, right? That's just the price. Well, what if like you want to add rocks? There's a different price. It's like a new negotiation. What if you don't like those rocks? You want a different kind of rock. What if you want shrubbage? What if you want, so there's just like, then the price has to add more, but then I want to know what the cost of things are. So then there's like input, output. There's a lot of shit that goes into this.
Right.
Whereas if I was a landscaper, I would come up to the person and ask them, why do they want their yard landscaped? Once I found out why they wanted it landscaped, I'd be able to come up with options that they found valuable. And then it works in literally every business. So no matter what business this is, you can keep finding the value in any client, any position. And what that does is it gives you longer lasting relationships where they feel valuable, they feel valued. And that's a catered design. It's like white glove service.
Right.
Another example is Porsche. A lot of people don't experiment with Porsche. They don't have the money to experiment with Porsche, but Porsche has this car service option where you can literally pay a subscription model, which is valuable to a lot of people, where they can get a car, any car they want from Porsche. And the only thing that Porsche doesn't include in this value-based subscription model is they don't include tolls, and they don't include, I want to say it's gas, but everything else is covered. And they'll swap out the car at will. So like if you want a fucking Carrera that day, they'll take it and swap it out. If you want to switch it out to a SUV because you got people in town, they'll swap it out for you. No problem.
I've
And you
heard
just
there
pay
are a lot of
$5,000 or $3,000 a month.
there are like
that's rad.
business plans for like autonomous vehicles where we Uber a driver. You'll basically pay into a program, so you'll be part of a membership, and anytime you need a ride, it's going to be at your door in 3 minutes.
Right.
And it's yours, and it takes you exactly where you need to go. It'll be like your mobile office.
Right.
And something like that is like, man, that's something I might be into. Like, I like traveling by myself. I like the privacy of like traveling and doing whatever, but like at the same time, it'd be cool to just like kick back and not even worry about anything.
Right. And you value that.
Yeah, it's not
Right.
far off. I'm not saying I would do that every single day, but man, to have the option,
Right.
that'd be kind of cool. Could you imagine if I was taking a road trip, like if I was going from Columbus to Phoenix, let's say I was doing something with Derb for Hell City, I could just be there in 26 hours.
Right.
I could sleep, I could just throw snacks in there, and I could just lounge, and it could be my travel vessel. Like I'd buy into that. Like
with the right lifestyle, I mean, that could be a good position for somebody to, have a good industry or business from that. Because if you are on a travel schedule all the time and you don't want to travel, or you don't want to drive yourself, and you do need to rest and you do need to kick back, that would be extremely valuable to somebody who has that lifestyle. But if you can model that same value system, the whole idea is to say, just imagine your life catered to my service, catered to your life. Just imagine I have this service that works perfectly in your world. That's the whole point of value-based pricing. And that's the whole point of a value-based conversation. And it does work. This is only new to tattooing. This isn't a new concept at all. This is actually a borrowed concept. And there's plenty of experts on this. One of them being Ron C. Baker, who's actually just an accountant who has a vendetta against the hourly billing model. And after exploring his research and just kind of listening and reading his books, and moving into my own world, I just kind of realized that value-based pricing works across the board for no matter what service you are. There's actually doctors that do this with concierge doctoring, where instead of going to a doctor, and this is for the rich people, but if you can imagine, if you're a tattooer and you can model a service similar to this, you do really well, especially if you have the clientele that can afford it. Instead of going to the doctor when you're sick, you go to a concierge doctor. Either comes to you, or you can go to the doctor once a week, once a month, whatever it is.
When
You
we're
pay a
off there, I
subscription.
can't wait to tell you about our next show idea.
Ooh, okay.
I don't want anybody to steal it.
Yeah, don't
Steelers.
no
We got to
Steelers.
be off air.
Yeah, this concierge doctoring is it's been existing since the 90s, and it's only gained more attention from people that are in a better position. So rich people are taking doctors on trips with them to make sure that they stay healthy while they're gone in Africa for 2 or 3 months, you know. So it's like, if you can imagine that lifestyle, there's somebody that values that with tattoo. There's somebody who values not paying hourly. They don't want to pay flat rate. They want to pay monthly. What if you offer them a subscription to a tattoo?
So when I first started getting tattooed, that's exactly what it was. I paid a fucking tattoo retainer.
Right.
It was $100 out of every one of my paychecks to Dan goddamn Wesley.
You're a smart man.
And it was, you come in. Sometimes I got tattooed for 3 hours. Sometimes I got tattooed for 6.
Yeah. See, he couldn't do that with everyone, but you
No.
were special, and he valued your business and you valued that position.
Right.
So you were
It was
doing
more
that.
of, I can't afford this any other way.
Right.
And he was like, well, I'll tell you what, man, bring me $100 every other week. We'll fucking figure it out. So between the gaps of my skin healing and tattoo time, he was able to accrue what was valued enough for him
Sure.
to be able to do the tattoo
Worked
and
out.
build a long-term commitment from me, because I already gave him my money.
Right. And you valued that situation, and you,
Well, and I
you know,
I'd
so-
have paid just to be in the club.
right. Well,
You know what I
you knew
mean?
that,
Like,
dude. Yeah.
I'd have paid the dues just to be in the club. If you told me it was $15 just to come and hang out at the shop a month, I'd be like, you're about $15 fucking dollars.
Right.
Because I was attracted to the environment as well as the art.
You valued it.
Right.
Right. And exactly my point. If you talk to someone and you find out what they value, you're much, the benefits are just unbelievable. If you're able to dial it in for your business, you can really saturate yourself with abundance in the qualified clients, like I said, premium anchored pricing. There's just a lot of benefits. And the main thing is just you're building lasting relationships, long-term lasting relationships. I mean, lifelong friends, or, just a good business relationship that
Still hang out with us.
Yeah. I mean, there's clients, shout out to my lifer clients. There's clients that I consider family now, and
For sure.
we still have that level of respect where they still get tattooed and they pay a price, and it is what it is. But we outside of the shop, where it's like a family. So
I'll say this, and it transcends fucking tattooing. If they are your friend and they do something to pay their bills, don't ask for a discount. If they are in a
Levels, yeah.
position to where they can offer you a discount, that is a whole nother fucking ball game. But I don't come to Fawn and say, Fawn, I've got $100. I know that you don't normally work for $100, but I want a tattoo. That's rude as shit.
yeah, there's tattoo etiquette for sure.
That's rude as shit.
See, these are the things I can't say. I sound like a crybaby tattoo artist, but
No,
in
we can say
reality,
that.
the opinion of somebody like Ben,
I work in the plumbing trade. Do you? And I'm not calling anybody out that's on my friends list or anything along those lines. But when you call me personally and ask me if I can come do your plumbing, you're cutting the business out. You're not allowing me to maintain my position at my job, and I'm not a fucking plumber. So joke's on you. I run the goddamn computer. So no, I can't help you. And 2, yes, you're going to pay full price. I'm not going to discount it because your service is valued.
Right.
If I came to you and was like, hey, bud, will you tattoo, I don't know, a giant space on my thigh? And, I need you to do it for $400. As your friend, I'm putting you in a position to either accept because, I'm owed
You're
that.
my
Our
friend.
friendship is
Right.
owed a dollar amount now. Or now you have to
in theory, be rude to me.
Reject
I've
me.
got
Reject me.
two criteria
Better
for
word, thank you.
discounts, and here are my two criteria. One is if I called you for a favor, you'd actually be there. And then the other is I've learned on you for so many years
Right.
that I owe this to you.
Right.
Those are it. Like if you have been my longtime collector and I've been learning on you all along the way and you can see my growth and progress in your collection, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
I feel like gratitude in your growth as an artist is like I give back in my growth, you know, my
Right.
quality, my experience. I don't feel indebted to anyone, and that might just be personally, you know, that might be my ego, but I feel like there's a definite level of like gratitude that I express as much as possible.
You had to put in the work.
Yeah, I definitely put the work in. It's
Right.
I mean, independent.
So
business,
regardless of who showed you,
right.
regardless of what came through, whatever circumstance, you had to put in the work to develop the skills to be to where you're at.
Right.
No one moved your hand.
Right.
No one tattooed fucking for you.
But as far as like a
Get your
discount goes, like I feel like when I'm doing a discount, it's more like this current time space is the discount because tomorrow I'm gonna be better.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be much better.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be so much better that the price goes up. And as Fat Joe says, yesterday's price is not today's
It's not
price.
today's price.
But it literally is like that. I mean, after every tattoo, it's a learning curve. No matter how expert you are, you're still learning and you're still growing and adapting. And after every tattoo, you're better. So if you're not better, what are you doing? You
what
know,
was the point?
well,
Mhm.
exactly. What was the point? So
Mhm.
that's why I say if you're in a position to tattoo, then you should be seeking to position yourself so that you can grow with every tattoo. And if you're doing shit that you can't grow with, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? So
Spinning the wheels.
you're exactly, bro.
You're spinning the
I
wheels.
love that phrase. I love it. I use it all the time because people, and I did it myself. I spun my wheels. I see artists spin their wheels. They don't give themselves a chance to grow, a chance to breathe, a chance to create, chance to experiment. They pretty much stay in this. I just got to make some money, pay my bills, call it a day.
Preach.
And then
That's why I have no skills.
dude, and then
I mean that in the best way.
there's just no value. There's no value that you're not replacing or adding or doing any kind of value exchange when you're living that kind of a lifestyle as an artist or a creative, when it's like
Mhm.
factory work, you know,
Mhm.
you're not really, you think you're adding value. You think you're supporting your family. You think that you're paying your bills, but really what you're doing is you're taking away from your family. You're hurting yourself because you're a creative and you have this ability to create at an abundant level, but you're limiting yourself to this nominal shit that is way lower than your pay grade. Number
So
one.
back when I was still working in, small town Ohio up in Marion, I used to encourage other tattooers in the community, even ones at other studios. It was like, quit posting chair open discounts if you walk in today. I was
Right.
like, please quit doing that. And they're like, well, if it's on sale, we get more people. It's like, no, because people then start waiting for those days that you're working on a
That's all they
discount,
want.
or they'll get you on a day for a discount and then they'll talk you into continually working on them for a discount. And then you cut them more deals, and don't set yourself up for the deal hunters. Don't do that. Like, I even like threw out some reverse psychology tricks and stuff. Like sometimes, and this is collectors, I'm sorry, I'm got to let you in on a little secret, but sometimes when an artist posts books closed, you're going to get like 15 emails that night of people that want to squeak in under the
for
line.
sure.
You always
So,
want the things you can't have.
Rather than
course,
saying,
fear of missing
hey,
out.
chairs open today, I had to cancel
Say
today,
books closed.
tomorrow, working for a discount, got to pay this bill,
Right. That's
Don't do that to yourself. Say, hey, books closed. That's it. That's all you've got to say. And people are going to email you because they've been thinking they might want to get tattooed sometime over the next few months. And they're going to drop that email, or they're going to drop that DM right
You
then.
just screwed every tattooer that was legit.
There's a lot
trying to
of-
close their
there's-
books.
I mean,
They're
there's
gonna
a-
get that flood of emails now.
the psychology of people missing out on a deal or a sale or something is strong, and that's how a lot of advertising and marketing is designed. So yeah, fear of missing out is huge. But pain points, I mean, if somebody, this is a marketing talk, now we're talking advertising and marketing.
Sorry.
But if we
It's
what we
talking sales.
yeah,
and
I
it
mean,
gets
if we
crazy.
want to, if somebody's like if you're advertising that you're in a low patch or you need to make a sale or something, chances are you're going to get a really low quality, low qualified client in that moment who is going to prey on that.
I like your wording, low qualified client. I like that. I'm going to use that.
It's real.
I'm going to steal that. That's
Use it.
very tasteful
Yep.
and it fully encompasses all of the things.
If we're not seeing ourselves as qualified and we're not qualifying our clients, you're going to come into, I like to use resentment because I've been dealing with resentment for quite some time. And I've only learned to release the resentment through my whole repositioning.
Mhm.
Like I didn't realize I was resentful until I repositioned myself. And now I enjoy my clients. I enjoy my time. I enjoy tattooing. I really enjoy, like, the hours that I put into the research is now more dedicated than ever before. And the time that I'm putting into crafting something
the magic is when you start aligning with the right clients, now you're aligning with clients that have more interests. And we've talked about this before. Like, if you're interested in the same things visually, you probably have a lot of things about your personality that are in common.
Right.
I find like one of the things that I like about the majority of my clients now is most of them, like, if we were in high school at the same time, we'd probably be sitting at the same lunch table.
Right.
Or we'd be sitting across from a lunch table, just like plotting with one another. Like,
Sure.
I feel like that's kind of magic. It makes that like wavelength and that connection between your, like, the artist and collector. It makes it a little bit more genuine when like you're coming from similar facets of life.
Right.
You know what I mean? It makes you passionate about your collector's project equally, and when the collector is just a little bit mismatched with the artist, you might not get as magic of a project just because your chemistry was misaligned.
That's why I've never understood people that would come into somebody that does something for a living and then question their design choices. I would never want to walk into somebody that creates art and say, I want it this color, I want it this background, I want it to be shaded this way. And I understand ideas,
Yeah,
but to be so particular and not allow the artist the freedom to create their art bugs me a bit.
bro, that's where, okay, so there's degrees for that, and you're going to experience that. We have to experience that client, that unqualified client, in order to realize what a qualified client looks like.
Right.
Mhm.
So you have to go through that. And as a collector, you're able to identify that. I think that's grand. I think that's like a brilliant perspective to be able to identify that, because we identify that. And I think once you're in an expert or a specialist position where you've niched down and you narrowed your focus, that's where you start your qualified clients start to become more abundant.
Mhm.
And you're no longer stressing on that kind of stuff.
Right.
So you have to go through that, but you will go through that, but you don't have to continually go through that, relearning that lesson over and over and over again. Eventually you learn the lesson, you move on, and you niche down, and it never happens again. It's like magic. That's where the tattoo magic, the chemistry starts to align itself. That's where literally it becomes so cohesive and so congruent. It's like seamless. You find the right experience. Like the joy on someone's face after a well-positioned tattoo, and the experience, just, it's different. It's a different type of vibe, a different type of energy that comes right back to you when they leave the shop. Like from the picture, from the post, from everything, it literally comes right back to you, and you get it in an abundance, like almost tenfold. So these new projects I'm taking on, when the client leaves, the level of energy that they are leaving with, it comes right the fuck back.
Right.
And I see it monetarily. I see it in my metrics. I'm starting to see it in my followers. I see it in my experience, my opportunities now. So it really does align itself with, your whole position. And if you're not in a position to do this or offer that, you have to get yourself in that position, or at least see yourself worthy of the position. Give yourself permission to explore this, because you as a creative have this opportunity too. It's not limited to just, or reserved for just the special or the elites or the red tree people or whatever. It is literally everyone's opportunity to benefit and enjoy this benefit. So if you are creative, please explore creative options. Explore getting out of these basic fundamental, like or primitive, I would say fundamental, but they're savage pricing models, primitive pricing models like hourly. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to see how devastating it can be to you and your client in order for you to grow from it, but don't stay in it. You know, learn to use humility and humble yourself into a new perspective and try something different and see if it works. And I think that it really did help me. And if I've seen the benefits from it, and I can talk about it openly about it, because I'm not only have I seen the benefit, I experienced it, but I've passed this information to other people. Like, I think you guys had Antoine Davis on here. I think he was here with Tony Urbanic one day. But Antoine is he's an award-winning tattooer. He's killing the game, and he came from the gutter, but he's exploring being a professional. And, that is something that you have to make that decision. It's not something that you are tattooed for 5 years, so now I'm a pro. It's like, you just make that decision when you're ready, but you have to explore your value. You have to explore your worth. You have to explore new pricing models. You have to get rid of the old shit that doesn't serve you anymore. So,
well, you said it. You have to be in the position to be able to be an expert in your field and have that honed in skill to be able to have that value pricing. So most people that are still on the paying someone for half of the tattoo and all that aren't ready for this.
right.
Stay in the model that you're in and develop and hone your craft until you're able to do that. But it's amazing to see the next step and a platform for people that are stuck and spinning their wheels and thinking that there's well, this is the way. I made it to 60%.
Right. We can optimize and go to peak performance. As artists, we can definitely get there. We don't have to grind and the word grind is just so painful. When I hear artists say, I grind, that just sounds so painful.
One of the things that I think has always kind of stuck in the back of my mind, like when we talk about like climbing and progressing and things like that, is, and maybe it comes from track. It was one of those things that was always drilled into us, is it's easy to be a big fish in a little pond. Like it's easy to be the fastest at practice. It's easy to do this once. It's easy, you know what I mean? But like consistency and gradual growth, and it's easy to be the biggest fish in a little pond, and you want to outgrow your fishbowl. You want to grow on to the next league. Then you want to grow on to the next league. And as your skill grows, your confidence grows, your social group grows, you know what I mean? And there's like this, I don't know, there's just this.
It's called tap rooting, people. So what you're doing is you're working through people. And what you want to do is extend yourself through the network of the people that they know in order to grow.
Yes, but with that, there's still the humility aspect. Like you might be the biggest fish in your pond, but 3 ponds over, there's this Goliath.
But you got to get to that pond, and you have to work through your network to expand into other people's networks to be able to have the availability to have that information.
There's definitely some compounding interest that gets you to the level of positioning. There's no one end all. There's no one path. There's no one recipe. There's no one, I made, now I'm an expert. So now that's just made me an expert. No, there's a lot that you have to have a reputation, a website, there's all kinds of stuff that just makes sense.
It's called proof.
Yeah, basically. Essentially you need the compounding interest, and there's just a lot of stuff. So, I love it because it feels like that there's no cap, there's no end to abundance. Right. So you can keep growing. And that's just part of my personality. So I find it more attractive. It's not for everyone. There's levels for everyone. But my main point was that you can use value, you can seek value, you can add value, and you can find your own value. And that's like the whole point, it's like as tattooers, we're not even exploring that. We're just going right to the hourly, or we go right to what we think we know, or it's arbitrary.
It's the same as when you look for a job. If you look for a $15 an hour job, you'll find a $15 an hour job.
Sure.
If you are looking for something that suits what you're looking for and are qualified to do, and take the time to find somebody that values what you bring to the table, you will find that job.
Absolutely.
But when you're rushed and you're in a bind and you're in a pinch and you're like, fuck, I need money now, I got to get to somewhere that's going to hire me, I need to just, that's how you end up at McDonald's.
Yeah, if you're thinking from a fear mindset, you're definitely going to limit your potential and your possibilities. If you're thinking from love or abundance, then you're probably going to put yourself in a much better position. But it's hard to do that as an artist. It's hard to see out through past the scarcity lens, you know.
Right.
It's so hard to do that. Even as a shadow artist, because the book, The Artist's Way, explains non-creatives as just shadow artists that are creatives in the closet, essentially.
That's funny.
Because we all are creative, you know, we're all basically big kids trying to explore ourselves and our world. And some people are more afraid than others, but some people live a full, fulfilled life. And there's no reserve for that. Everyone should have that opportunity, and especially as an artist. But if you're an artist, how do you know you're an artist? How do you explore that? How do you live creative life? Well, if you find value, if you see your self-worth, if you practice your skills, if you hone yourself, if you network, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. But once you start to develop this and you make that decision, there's no stopping you.
Nice.
There's absolutely no stopping you.
Can you just be my life coach?
Gotcha, bro. That's why I'm here.
Just point me in a direction.
Well, we've been going for almost 3 hours already.
What?
I know. Sometimes it goes so quick.
Guys,
But
this was fun.
I also
Bro,
have-
every time we sit down, it's like we haven't missed a beat, and it's rare to have friends like that. I've always valued that. You got it in my head.
I think this has
that was
been
good.
a fantastic discussion.
Absolutely.
I'd love it if you would join us again
Please.
Oh, hell yeah.
Please.
I'd love to be back.
We're here every
Yeah.
Thursday.
Sweet.
every
you just
Thursday.
tell me when you're free.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to set up a live tattoo next year.
Yeah, dude, you got to tattoo me next time.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
do it. No, I mean, you need it.
Tattoo tradesies.
We'll trade it.
Tattoo
I
tradesies.
could bust some
We can
out.
make that happen.
I love it.
Let's do
I
it.
love it.
We could travel to you, or I could equip my room for both of you to
Let's do
tattoo
it.
one another.
Let's do both. Fuck
Let's
it.
do it.
Hmm
You let me
We
know.
can make it happen.
Okay.
We can make it
You
happen.
let me know.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We will be back next week. I am planning on taking a road trip up to Michigan.
What's a Missy?
So at Dark Sky Studio, they have an art show going on next weekend. So I'm gonna go up the Thursday before and hang out and talk to them about the art show and artwork and tatties.
When are you coming back from said experience?
It's just gonna be a 1-day trip. Brian's on a maybe to go up,
so
so-
like Thursday during the day, come back Friday morning? or-
probably that night,
Or like, so what?
late that night. So we're gonna have a,
Might make it to the
All
dirty
plans-
mitten, buddy.
all plans are pointing to road trip next Thursday. So
Right.
yeah, we're gonna get the ball rolling. I actually,
Love a road trip.
our buddy Todd
That's-
was supposed to
that's
join me. I was going to meet up with him. We were going to smoke a whole bunch of weed together, and we were supposed to go over to Johnny Andre's studio. And then Todd remembered he had a poker tournament.
Oops.
So I'm still going to go on and check out the art show. I mean, it'll be like the night before, but
Did he have his
There'll be-
poker face on when he told you that?
he's always got his poker face on.
I'll let myself out.
Wait. If he didn't know, he didn't even know. He's so good, he tricked himself.
Denny, how can people track you down?
Yeah. How do we find you?
Okay, so you can check me out on IG at Denny Michaels, or you can check me out on my website at tattoogold.com. It's the easiest one to remember, or it's also nobilitytattoo.com. But yeah, find me online. I'm all over.
Hit him up.
I'm around.
Awesome. All right. Well, you'll see us